What's up, everybody? Good morning and a very happy Thursday to you all. DK Show coming to you from the TDS the Sports Talk Studios this morning. Thanks for tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in. If it's on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Available to stream online at our website, sportstalk1051.com. You've got your Alexa devices. You can check out the video stream on YouTube, the app, download it, take it on the go. Multiple different ways for you to be tuning in. That Shoe Doctor's bullpen line is up and rolling for some texts. Hit me up, 715-830-1912. Hit me up on my Facebook page. Facebook.com/Dan Kasper Sports, Instagram.com/Dan Kasper Sports as well. So it is a Takeover Thursday. If you're not familiar what Takeover Thursday is, I don't blame you because we're going to start this off today. See how it goes. But Takeover Thursday, going to let you, the listener, act as a producer and send over some segment ideas, or I should say topic ideas. Send over some topic ideas that you may have. If you think, hey, I want to get the Armchair MVP's thoughts and opinions on this topic. Maybe it's something you heard somewhere else, or maybe it was something you've been thinking about. Maybe it's something you and your buddies were kind of chatting about in the group text that you have. All right, so send them on over. If I like it, if it's appropriate, we'll throw it out there for the rest of the listeners, the rest of the Armchair MVPs to talk about. So please send them on. Don't think it's don't be shy, don't be nervous, don't think it's stupid. Okay? Send it on over. All right. This is your opportunity. So looking forward to seeing what you all have. What else is on the game plan for us though this morning? We'll continue to chat some Packers and Bears as we get set for Saturday night's playoff contest. Just a couple days away, baby. We're getting there, man. We're getting there. So we're going to continue with deep dives into some keys to victory. My number 4 key to victory, just in my opinion, that'll be coming up here in just a little bit. But the Packers yesterday returning to practice, padded practice, and really nothing changed in terms of injury report and such, although Bo Melton placed on injured reserve, so his season is done. Not an ACL, but it's just something that Matt LaFleur yesterday saying that he wouldn't be back in time for the rest of the playoffs and such. So we got some other comments from players and such. Josh Jacobs yesterday saying this is the best, this is the healthiest he has felt in weeks. Also talking about the hits that Jordan Love had. Or against Jordan Love when the Packers and Bears last played in Week 16 that resulted in a concussion for Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs saying, quote, I know a lot of guys took that hit that he took a little personal, so I'm not saying we're going to go out there and play dirty or nothing like that, but we definitely are going to defend our brother. So, Jordan Love also chatting a little bit with the media yesterday. So we'll get to some of his comments. Keyshawn Nixon also talking with the media. He's kind of had a tale of two different games against the Bears, if you think about it. And he said, quote, I gamed them. They gamed me. It means a lot to me, so I'm ready to do it. But plenty of Packers chats coming at you throughout the morning here. So we'll get to that. Hoops last night, Bucks falling to the Warriors 120-113. Bucks trying make that fourth quarter comeback, but it wasn't enough. Giannis, a typical line for Giannis, over 30, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, but it wasn't enough for the Bucks to pick up their 17th victory of the season, so they fall to 16 and 21. Other players helping out the cause. Every starter was in double-figure scoring, but Kyle Kuzma coming off the bench, putting up 13 points to help the cause. You had Ryan Rollins with 16, Kevin Porter Jr. with 15 as well. So Bucks off day today. West Coast trip continues, though. They'll be taking on the Lakers tomorrow night. And we did have a NBA trade yesterday that did not involve the Bucks, but maybe a player that was kind of thrown out there as a possibility for the Bucks to maybe acquire, and that was Trae Young. But Trae Young getting traded to the Wizards for C.J. McCollum and company. So take Trae Young off the list if you were hoping that maybe the Bucks would look to acquire somebody like that. But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen unless the Wizards flip him to I don't know, but doesn't seem like that is going to be the case here. So, but we're less than a month away from that NBA trade deadline. Bucks fans, we've gone through this for the last few weeks. Names have been thrown out there as possibilities for the Bucks. Rumors, reports, whatever the heck we want to call it. Has there been a name out there that has potentially floated for the Bucks that you would like to see maybe being acquired by the Bucks or intrigues you realistically too? Okay, it's not a Luka Doncic or anything like that. Realistic player. So, speaking of hoops, Marquette picking up a win, a much-needed win last night. They took down Xavier. Locally wise, both UW-Eau Claire men's and women's basketball teams falling to Platteville last night. For Stout, they defeated River Falls. The men's team defeated River Falls. Women's team falling to River Falls. So, what else we have? It is DNR Warden Jake Day. So it's been a couple weeks since we've chatted with Jake. So if you have any questions, outdoors related, please start to send them on over right now. Text it 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. We'll get those to Jake. He'll be joining us around 8:30 this morning. So maybe you got ice fishing questions. I know with the weather warming up and such, trails, some depending on where you do a little snowmobile trails, it's kind of closed and shut down and that. But if you got any other outdoor related questions, please send them on over. There's no such thing as a dumb question. So also on the docket, it is a Thursday, so enough is enough. What is the narrative? What is the sports narrative that you've been hearing? Maybe it's from your buddies. Maybe it's from a media source or wherever. What is your enough is enough? Enough is enough with this Matt LaFleur being fired or let go by the Packers talk. Enough is enough about blah, 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 blah. Send them on over. Also, I'm going to debut another episode, too, Inside the Hobby today. So a lot of you, man caves, collections, sports memorabilia, such, going to go kind of like it's a little bit of like a news type of segment with that. And then I'm going to flip it into a question. So I'll tease it here with this question because it relates to a news story. How many, and it's hard, but how many of you maybe used to, maybe you still try to, like, keep your game tickets? It's hard now because everything's digital. So, like, Packers-wise, everything's on your phone, right? I, screenshot it and print it. Nothing fancy, but it's just a collection. It's a record, maybe. But how many of you maybe used to keep your ticket stubs, and how many of you still have them? And maybe do you have one or maybe a couple that are just like they mean a little bit more, or they're, kind of like, oh yeah, those are big deals. Maybe it was a memorable game or something like that. The reason I'm asking this, so I want to give you some time though to hit me up. Do you have it? Maybe send me a picture too if you got a sweet collection of that. I've got a binder of Packers ones, and I've kept every game ticket, preseason, regular season of a Packers game. I have a couple Brewers ones too that are just, for memory purposes, like playoff games and that. But Packers wise, I keep everything, and even like everything's digital. I'll screenshot it off my phone and then, email it and print it to myself. I forgot to do it for one game this year, but I was able to get a commemorative ticket, so I got to put a little note under like where the seats were and that. So that's my fault there, and it's going to bug me. Believe me, it's going to bug me. But I'm kind of curious. Does anybody kind of do that or used to do that? And does it bum you out? I get it. It's easier on the phone and all that, but does it kind of bum you out a little bit that they don't do that anymore? It bums me out just because I collect them in that. So, and I know there's other ways you can get like a commemorative or print it off when you go to the game and all that sort of stuff, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So we'll have a little fun with that as well. So that's your game plan for this morning, and whatever you guys come up with too, whatever you guys and gals come up with too, because it is a Takeover Thursday. So start to send me some of those topics. You are the producer today. Send them on over. All right. With that, let's get the leadoff going here this morning. We'll take our first break, and we'll continue to break down this Packers-Bears playoff matchup on Saturday night. My fourth key to victory. My fourth key to victory for this game. We've touched on 3 of them so far. We'll do quick revisits on those, but my fourth key to victory for the Packers in this game, we'll break it down coming up in just a few minutes. But we got to take a quick break, and we'll get rocking and rolling here this morning. Stick around. We'll be back after these quick words. Skip the cooking tonight and stop by Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Their ready-to-eat section is packed with fresh, delicious options from chef-prepared meals and salads to sandwiches, wraps, and hot sides. It's fast, it's convenient, and it's perfect for lunch, dinner, or even a quick snack on the go. Grab exactly what you want when you want it and enjoy a meal that's ready in minutes. Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, fresh, flavorful, and ready to eat. We are just getting closer and closer to the Packers-Bears matchup. Saturday nights, playoff wild card. We've been deep diving into, in my opinion, major keys to victory for Green Bay leading into this game. We started off the week with red zone offense for the Packers, coming away with touchdowns instead of field goals. Tuesday, we highlighted stopping the run from the Chicago Bears. Third best in the entire league in the regular season at running the football. Yesterday on Wednesday, we talked about turnover differential. Both teams, one of the best in the league at not turning the ball over, but the Bears defense, one of the best, the very best in the league in interceptions and turnover differential, where the Packers defense, something that was a major goal for them last year, or for this year because of their success last year, they're towards the bottom. They're not hitting their marks when it comes to turnovers. So if somehow the Packers could force a couple turnovers while not turning the ball over themselves, my opinion, it'd be a pretty darn good path to victory for Green Bay in this game. So my next key to victory here relates to trying to slow down Caleb Williams. Say what you want about Caleb Williams. I'm not, I know there's trash talk going out there and back and forth, but Caleb Williams has had himself a solid year this year, a good year. If you are a Bears fan, you're probably feeling pretty darn optimistic, a lot better than what you saw in his rookie year. Caleb Williams finished 7th in the league in passing yards, just under 4,000, 3,942. 27 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. We know he is a threat with his legs, too. Running, scrambling. We know this. We've seen it. We've been victims of it, right? It's there. When you kind of, look at and go back and watch some of those contests, you can see, his ability to extend plays and making those plays with his feet, throwing on the run too. It's pretty impressive. He finished the season with 388 rushing yards, averaging 5 per carry. I mean, it's not Lamar Jackson or anything like that, but it is a threat that you have to be mindful of. So, and he's very good. He's one of the better when you look at quarterback ratings from this season and the regular season. He's very good against the blitz. So, how do you slow down? How do you stop? However you want to phrase it, Caleb Williams. It's not as simple as go blitz him, because he is one of the better quarterbacks, numbers-wise, against the blitz this year. So, and that's because of his ability to throw on the run, to extend those plays using his legs. So, what do you do? How do you do it? How do you try to slow down this second-year quarterback that has taken some big strides this year in his play? It's complicated, and it's no easy task, especially when you don't have your best defensive player in Micah Parsons in this game. So a lot of it is going to have to rely on scheme from Jeff Hafley, sound football, doing your job. I mean, it's going to take almost a perfect performance from this Packers defense. But in a nutshell, I think, a lot of it is, how do you try to confuse him? How do you try to confuse Caleb Williams with your defensive schemes? He has now seen you twice this year. Okay. Obviously, he has watched a lot of film. The Bears, Ben Johnson, the Bears offense, they've watched a ton of film on Green Bay's defense, and they have seen you twice this year. Jeff Hafley, what can you do to maybe give him some unscouted looks, try to confuse him, disguise those coverages, disguise those blitzes? I was rewatching some of the stuff from the Bears and Baltimore game earlier in the season. And one thing that Baltimore did really well on the defensive side was fooling Caleb Williams, disguising things, confusing him, showing blitz, backing off, having great coverage, and essentially making Caleb Williams panic a little bit. How does Jeff Hafley and this defense do that? How can they confuse him? Because I feel like that is a big key to trying to slow him down and trying to stop him. But, you want to get pressure on him too. Blitz, pressure, I think a lot of times people kind of combine them both. And you just don't want to send out an all-out blitz and all that and, not have contain on the edge so he's allowed to hit the edge, or if you send a blitz on the edge and then the middle of the field's wide open so he can step up there, you got to get to him quick so he doesn't have time to hit an open receiver. You got to collapse that pocket. You got to make him uncomfortable back there. You got to get him almost like thinking too much. You know what I mean? Like just collapsing that pocket around him so he's not able to extend the play on the edges, not able to step up. Because if he hits that edge, it's already advantage to him. We've got speedy linebackers with Quay and Edgerrin Cooper, but depending on where they're going to be lined up, he's going to have the advantage. He doesn't have a Micah Parsons chasing him down. Rashawn Gary's not going to catch him, right? I mean, we know that. So somehow they've got to instantly collapse that pocket and get to him quick. Make him get rid of the football quick. Coverages are going to be key in this thing too, because if he is able to hit that edge and roll out, how many times did we see it in our matchups, in the Packers and Bears matchups, where he's rolling to the edge and he's still finding a receiver? He never gives, they cannot give up on a play, and you just can't let him hit that edge. You kind of almost have to make him just go, north, backwards, straight line. You know what I mean? Like staying within that pocket. But confusing him and disguising those coverages, disguising those blitzes, corners staying on their dudes. I don't know, Green Bay's probably going to play a lot more zone in this thing too, like how they've done for the majority part of the year. I know Baltimore, when I was rewatching some of those clips, they were playing a lot of man against him. But maybe does Jeff Hafley pull something out of his back pocket, something completely unexpected, something that Chicago wasn't expecting? I think he almost has to in this point, because they are very familiar with each other. And when you get to a third matchup between teams, you have to come out with something a little bit different. And you can say the same thing about the offensive side for Green Bay. Like Matt LaFleur, what are you going to do different now? What's something that you are going to do that is going to catch Dennis Allen and the Bears defense by surprise? What's something else? What's at the back end of that play call sheet that you haven't dialed up, or what's something that you've been working on this week with your staff and your players and your quarterback? You got to catch them off guard. You got to do something different. And I would expect for both of these teams, from an offensive side of things, I'm curious to see the first 10, 15 plays, those scripted plays. Do both these teams come out with something different or try to do something different, put it in the back of their minds, their opponent's minds, and try to catch them off guard a little bit. Maybe try to get up to an early lead, put them in a hole early. I'm really curious to see how these two offenses come out on their first drive, their first couple drives. We hear about scripted plays all the time. Is Ben Johnson going to do something different to try to catch this Packers defense off guard? Is Matt LaFleur going to do something different? Or are they going to be kind of like, in the early rounds of a boxing match, you're just kind of dancing around, maybe throwing a couple jabs here and there. You're feeling out the opponent. And then, like in Rocky 2, you unleash him starting to throw lefty haymakers, right? Rocky 2, Mickey trains him to be a right-hand fighter. Rocky comes out, throwing the right hand, confuses Apollo. And then later on, now hits him with the left, really confuses him, coming from both different ways. I'm kind of curious to see how these teams do that because they're so familiar with each other. Do they try to catch that team off guard right away, or do they hold on to that stuff a little bit later on and just, it's like a boxing match where they're dancing around a little bit and kind of like feeling out the opponents? But I think from the defensive side of things here for Green Bay, when it comes to Caleb Williams, the key here is you got to confuse him. He is an athletic playmaker. I think at times Caleb gets into trouble when he tries to be Superman a little bit too much. But you have to confuse him. He's an athletic, very athletic quarterback that can beat you in multiple different ways. But if you can get in his head, and make things more difficult from him where he's unable to call out those blitzes, he's unable to figure out what's the coverage here and keep him guessing, that's going to help out your banged up defense quite a bit. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll have more Packers, Bears chats coming up here. Send me your thoughts. Don't forget, it is a Takeover Thursday. What's a topic that you have in mind that you want to hit up with the rest of the armchair MVPs? Send them on over. We'll take a quick break and be right back after these quick words. When it's time to update the floors in your home, skip the big box stores. Go local. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire has been helping families across the Chippewa Valley find perfect flooring for decades. From soft, comfortable carpet to luxury vinyl planks, laminate, and tile, Carpet City Flooring Center has options for every room, every style, and every budget. And you won't be rushed or pushed into something that you do not need. Their experienced team takes the time to listen, answer questions, and help you choose flooring that actually fits your lifestyle. Carpet City Flooring Center also offers professional installation from people who take pride in their work. That means your floors are done right the first time. No gimmicks, no pressure, just quality products, honest pricing, and friendly local service that you can trust. So whether you're updating one room or planning a full home remodel, start with the name Eau Claire has relied on for years. That's Carpet City Flooring Center, locally owned and locally trusted. We've got a couple of texts. The one question I was throwing out a little bit earlier about, do you keep ticket stubs and such? Because that's going to be a part of our segment coming up in just a little bit about Inside the Hobby. Steve from Eau Claire says 40 years worth of ticket stubs. Baseball, NASCAR, love looking at them. We've got Brandon G saying, I keep any tickets I can. The memorable one to me would be the ticket stubs I saved from the 2010 Wisconsin upset in football versus Ohio State. And I got to storm the field. Pretty special moment. That would be pretty sweet. Remember watching that game. But to be there and to be a part of the storm of the field, that would be pretty darn sweet. So the reason I'm bringing that up too, because, well, no, I'm going to save it for the next hour for our segments of Inside the Hobby, because yesterday we got to hear from some of the coordinators, and I don't know if any of you actually listened to the pressers when they happen and such, and listen to the coordinators, listen to the coaches, and that sort of thing. And I know the Giants general manager made a comment the other day, going through the they're going through the hiring process of a new head coach, and he made a comment about, kind of going to the coordinator pressers, looking back at them and seeing how they handle the media, how they answer questions, such. I hope he doesn't look at or rewatch some of Jeff Hafley's, because I swear every time I've listened to a Jeff Hafley presser, I just come away with more impressed, and I want to play for that guy. This is a little bit of a clip. I mean, he was asked yesterday by the media, because his name is being mentioned as a head coach. And I appreciate Jeff Hafley for, not shying away from that. A lot of coaches will go out there and say, not thinking about it, not thinking about it, not, focused on this, blah, 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 just very generic, typical coach speak. And Hafley was asked about it back-to-back yesterday. And I want to play this clip. And he has the perfect mic drop. The perfect mic drop. And I hope it gets Packers fans a little pumped up. I posted a little bit of that clip on my Instagram and Facebook yesterday, but here's the entire exchange, audio courtesy from the Packers.
He's been pretty popular as a potential head coaching candidate for this cycle. We all have career goals. What would that opportunity mean to you? And after 2 years here, where do you feel like you are in terms of being ready for that?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's hearing my name out there, that's obviously extremely flattering and very humbling, right? And I think when you work for an organization like the Packers and have a head coach like Matt and players like we do and a defensive staff like we do, I'm just honored to be in those. I think right now with all that stuff, it can be a distraction, so I'm trying to lock in on these playoffs and do the best that we can. And then whenever that time comes, we'll figure it out and go from there. But extremely honored and flattered, just to be mentioned, and you asked me that question. But for right now, this is the Bears. I mean, this is one of the biggest rivalries in all of football, one that I have watched for a very long time. Did not end the way we wanted to the last time we played there. So I am going to do everything in my power to focus on every minute that I have to give this organization and our players everything I got to go win this game.
Jeff, can I ask you that same question in a different way?
You can ask me any question you like, because even if I said no, you would.
Fair.
But you always phrase it like that, so you set yourself up for me. But I can't wait to see how you ask the same question differently.
Me too.
Okay, well, here we go. You don't know what the future holds, and neither do I. But to think about where you were a couple of years ago, you're coaching your own college program. What have these 2 years meant to you? And what do you think about what you've put together with this group, and just what has it been like for you? Because it seems that you're pretty damn passionate about this group that you've been.
Yeah, I love this group. I love being part of the Green Bay Packers, and I never take that for granted every day when I drive in and I get to see Lambeau Field, honestly. I mean, I'm a guy who started coaching Division III football and worked my way up to be a college head coach, and now I'm part of the greatest NFL organization that there is, getting to call the plays. So that is so humbling to me. I love the defensive players that we coach. Like, I love these guys, and I love the staff, and I love working for Matt. And I never take that for granted, not 1 second, which is why when I answer that question, I don't think it'd be fair to anybody in here, anybody a part of this, for me not to give everything I have for this game. Would one day I like to be a head coach again? Absolutely, for sure. But like, just even answering this question for you right now, I just am so grateful and so happy to be here and be part of this. And I've just loved coming to work every single day here. Like, even joking with you guys, like, I know sometimes it's hard and you ask hard questions, but you guys have been incredible. And I mean that. And it's not like that everywhere. So I thank you guys for that. Everything that I have been a part of here, from Goody to Ed to Matt, it's just been like, what a blessing to be here for me and my family. So I appreciate that. And we are not going to be done. So I will see you guys next week.
And there's your mic drop right there. So that was, again, Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley yesterday, answering a couple questions about his potential future as a head coach and such. But I love the mic drop. This is not the end. I will see you guys here next week. And he pounds the podium table and walks off. So, I mean, again, that's just, if you've been listening to Hafley's pressers throughout the year, last year and such, he comes off as a very, very impressive individual. And not only is it just based off stats and numbers and success that he has had with the defensive side, that's making him a hot name for a potential head coaching job. It's stuff like that too. I mean, all of you listening right now obviously have a passion for sports, and you have a love for sports, and you probably played at some level, whether it was middle school, elementary school, high school, college, whatever. And you hear a coach speak like that, even though you've probably been done playing for a long time. How does that not get you excited, motivated? And how does that not get you like, okay, I get it, I want to play for that guy? And I get it. There's a lot of Packers fans that would say maybe Hafley should be the head coach for Green Bay. I've seen it. I get it. I've never met the guy personally and such. But, I mean, I'd love to play for him. I think a lot of people love to play for him. And you hear the players talk about him and such. And if he does get a head coaching job elsewhere, I think it'll be a huge loss for Green Bay. It'll be a big one. It's not one that they couldn't overcome. Teams have lost coordinators before to head coaching jobs and, never miss a beat, or, it seems like they may never miss a beat. Some, you've seen the effects of losing those coordinators. Look at Detroit, maybe. But, man, that would be a guy, we talk about sports figures, athletes, coaches, whatever. Like, I would just love to maybe sit down and have a beer with. Jeff Hafley would make my list. If I were to come up with a list right now in my notebook and just put all the different people that I would love to share a man cave light with, Jeff Hafley would be on my list. I feel like that's a guy I would just want to talk to and pick his brain. just comes off. I don't know. Like I just really enjoy listening to his insight, to his pressers, and the way he, consistently has his players' backs and such. It's really impressive. And ultimately, I think odds are he is going to be a head coach, whether it's going to be this upcoming season, a couple of years down the line, whatever it is. But I think it was, when he was first hired by Matt LaFleur, I had the same reaction that I think a lot of people had. Who and what and why? A college head coach from Boston College? Who is this guy and why? It turned out to be a pretty good hire. And selfishly, I hope it's for a little bit. He's in Green Bay for a while yet. So, all right, let's take our final break as we wrap up the first hour. We'll be back after these quick words. Looking for quality used auto parts? Well, then you need to check out ASAP Used Auto Parts and Conrad's Auto Salvage. From engines and transmission, tires, batteries, and more, they've got the parts that you need. Friendly, knowledgeable staff make it super simple so you can get back on the road quickly. From salvage to service, one name you can trust. That's Conrad's Auto Salvage and ASAP Used Auto Parts, located at E9889 Albany Drive, Mondovi, Wisconsin. You can also check out their website, conradsautosalvage.com, or give them a call, 715-875-4500. So kind of wrap up the first hour here. We'll do our segment that I'm going to try to do every Thursday, a little inside the hobby. Okay, a little inside the hobby, because a lot of you, maybe you got a sports memorabilia collection, maybe you card collection, whatever the case may be, okay? And so every Thursday, it's kind of, there's maybe a little news thing surrounding it, and I want to make it into kind of a question for you all, and that's, and I saw this piece the other day, that there is a sports collector out there. He is closing in on his quest. This is from collect.com. This collector is closing in on his quest for every Michael Jordan NBA ticket. So Michael Jordan has played in 1,264 NBA games. And this collector is just 136 tickets away from collecting every ticket stub. That's amazing. And I got some of the pictures. Obviously, some of the ticket stubs are graded and such. And you could check out the list. Maybe you got one of those tickets, but he's got the ones that he's still looking for. There's actually quite a few Bucks ones. So if you got a ticket from a Bulls-Bucks game, November 24th, 1984, February 19th, 1989, March 29th, 1989, December 3rd, 1996, January 11th, 2002, and January 30th, 2003. Hey, he wants to talk to you. So, but then I kind of turned it into the question of how many of you still keep ticket stubs or have kept ticket stubs as part of your sports collection? Like, I get it. The ticket stubs have kind of gone away because it's on the phone now. And I've kept a couple of like Brewers ones, like playoff ones, memorable ones. But I keep everything when it comes to every Packers game that I have gone to. Preseason, regular season, playoffs. And when they switched over to digital, I would just screenshot it and print it off and put it in my binder. So that's how I still kind of keep track of that. I know you can go to the ticket office and, print off a ticket for that. I understand that. I get that. You can still do that. But when I'm at the game, that's probably like the last thing I'm worried about there. So I just screenshot it, email it, print it, slip it into the binder. But I do miss the old ticket stubs. I get it, convenience-wise, money-wise, and all that. But I miss, all right, looking at the picture of the ticket and just having that physical piece still. And, probably some of my favorite ones are going to be like and then these tickets, and you could go on eBay and find ticket stubs. Like Aaron, I was there for Rodgers' first game. I was there for Favre's last game, the playoff game. The Rodgers one's so interesting because I originally bought that ticket when I was in college because that was supposed to be Favre's retirement ceremony, like retired the number. So Favre's face is on the ticket for Rodgers' first start. But, I got that one and bunch of other ones. But yeah, I've kept all of them, and I still wish they would do that. I get it. It's easier. Like I remember the paper tickets, in your pocket. I would just always like freak out if I still had it in my pocket. It's a lot easier on the phone and that, but I'm old school, I guess, in that. But how many of you still keep them? Do you still try to does anybody else do what I do, like screenshot and print, or maybe they go to the ticket office when they go to the game and print them off and that sort of thing? I know we had Brandon chime in, says that he keeps any tickets that he can have. Steve from Eau Claire says he's got 40 years worth of ticket stubs. So it's not every athletic event for me. If it's like Brewers, Bucks, it might be like, I got my Game 5 ticket stub from when the Brewers walked it off against the Diamondbacks in 2011. I still got that one in the man cave. But Packers-wise, that's just kind of my thing. Every Packers game I've gone to, I got a big binder full of those. But it's a main, like I know a lot of people that wish they would have kept their ticket stubs. I started when I started to go to Pack games regularly. It was like the programs; those took up too much space, so I stopped that. I still have them all, not for every game, but I started to collect them. So, but yeah, if it's a really and I'm sure there's some of these ticket stubs, depending on the game too, they're worth a lot of money, man. Worth a lot of money. So, all right, shot clock's gonna cut me off here. 1 hour in. We got a couple more to go. It is a Takeover Thursday. Send me your topics. This is your chance to contribute and throw out a topic. Also, enough is enough. What is your sports narrative, sports takes, where you just say enough is enough? We've got some news updates, and we'll be back to kick off the second hour coming up after these quick words. Second hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning of January 8th. Thanks for hanging out with us so far. Appreciate that. Don't forget, it is a Enough is Enough Thursday. What are your sports opinion, or what are the sports narratives out there, the sports takes that you would just say, enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. All right, send them on over. Send them on. Maybe it's like, enough is enough. This guy isn't getting enough respect, or enough is enough. Stop talking about this guy getting fired or benching or whatever. All right. Send it. Send it on over. Also, it is a Takeover Thursday, so send those puppies on over too. If you got a topic idea that you would like to get the conversation flowing with your fellow armchair MVPs, please send those along as well, and we'll throw that out for everybody else. If it's a good one, we'll throw it out there. So we got Mark saying, I've saved mine, but I need you to come organize them for me. Sounds like your collection is quite organized. Mine, not so much. Yeah, I just got them in a binder. I get those sleeves and I throw them in a binder. So what I would like to do one of these days, I've said this for years though, so it'll probably never happen. What I would love to do with my Packer ticket collection is like write a game summary, like what happened for each of those games. And I know the more games I go to and the more that collection kind of just, gets bigger and bigger, the least likely I'm going to do that. Maybe one of these days, if I'm able to retire, that could be my retirement project. But I would love to and part of my thinking was like, if it gets passed down through our family, like Hudson or something like that, they can look through that and it's like a history book. It's like, oh, okay, so this game, what happened in this game? Flip to the next page. Here's a little game summary, game write-up. Here's who won. Here's what happens, that sort of stuff. Ultimately, I'd love to do that, but yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get to that. Hopefully, fingers crossed with these. I think that'd be kind of cool. I know now it's 2026, so somebody could just Google it and that, but I'm still kind of old school and stuff like that. So coming up in about an hour and a half, we'll chat with Jake Boakes, Wisconsin DNR warden. It's been a couple weeks since we chatted with Jake, so it'd be good to catch up with him. If you have any questions for Jake, ice fishing related, hunting, trail ride, whatever the case may be, any questions whatsoever, please send them on over right now so I can forward those on to Jake. Okay, text them on over at our Shoe Doctors bullpen line, or you can always chime in on the YouTube video stream as well. We'll get back to some more Packers chat throughout the morning as we are getting closer and closer to this playoff game against the Chicago Bears. But let me throw this out to you. As we are inching a little bit closer to this game, give me a vibe check. Okay, we're just a couple days away now. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. You know what's after Friday? Game day, Saturday. So we're just a couple days away. Where is your vibe check? How are you feeling right now? And I want to hear from Bears fans. I know we have some. You know who you are listening right now. Okay? If you are a Bears fan, I want to know your vibe check heading into this game. Be honest. And Packers fans, be honest too. How are you feeling with just a couple days away from kickoff? Today's the final day of practice, like a normal practice, and then should get game designations today. So give me a vibe check. How are you feeling heading into this game? I want to hear it from both Packers and Bears fans. And if you are a Vikings fan, because I know we've got some of you listening as well, you don't have a horse in this race, right? Who are you picking? Or how do you think this thing's going to play out? Be kind of the neutral. Be Sweden in this thing. And let me know how you see this game playing out. Okay? Switching gears just for a skosh here. Hoops-wise, Bucks last night falling to the Golden State Warriors, 120-113. Bucks dropping to 16-21 on the season as they're in the middle of their West Coast trip right now. I know last night too there was a little bit of drama between Draymond Green. You had it looked like a hard foul on Giannis. Giannis thought it was a flagrant, wasn't. He got a delay of game. Doc Rivers was very upset after the game with the officiating and such. This was from Eric Name. He asked Doc Rivers what he thought about his team's ability to keep their composure in the face of calls that didn't go their way. And this is what he had to say, quote, "I thought in the first half we didn't do a good job of it, but listen, I also thought veteran teams like this get away with things. How you don't look at the flagrant foul is ridiculous, right? And listen, I'm a big Draymond Green fan before I say that. And the reason I am is because he is such an instigator, all right? But they call a tech in the first half on Porter after Draymond Green's waving his hands at the refs, yelling at the refs. But then they call a tech on Porter. I mean, give me a break. Clear, flagrant foul. It was a windup. It was impact. They didn't even look. They didn't even look. And then they, all three, come out of halftime and said, man, we blew that. That was a flagrant. We should have looked. My only question, well, what were you looking at? I mean, you called a foul. You saw something. It's really frustrating there. So what I'm saying is, in our defense, they say that's frustrating. And then Porter saying, I barely say anything to the ref and I got a tech. I'm hearing this guy cuss at them and nothing. So that's frustrating. Draymond Green is a very polarizing player in the NBA. I feel like he is one of those players that we talk a lot about in college basketball, where if he is on your team, you probably like him. But if he's on the other team, you probably can't stand him. Probably like what Brad Davison was for a lot of non-Badgers fans. Probably like what Aaron Kraft was, former Ohio State player. Feel like that's the case. And this game, too, is coming off of a Warriors game a couple nights ago where Steve Kerr was really upset and such. So I don't know if it was – how many times have we kind of seen that where games – it's like the makeup games or, that sort of thing, especially more so in basketball, it feels like. But, yeah, Draymond Green he's, let's just say, politely an acquired taste at this point. An acquired taste. Talented player, but an acquired taste. Bucks, though, next game up will be Friday, taking on the Lakers. So one player that was kind of thrown out there, not really. I mean, when you look at, I guess, the ESPN rumors and reports and that, his name really wasn't thrown out there. And this might have been more of a fan pick, but one trade that won't happen for the Bucks, Trae Young. He has been moved to the Washington Wizards. CJ McCollum and company coming over in return. So Trae Young going to the Wizards, I guess, unless the Wizards decide to flip him in that too, but doesn't seem like that's going to be the case because it seems like the GM in Washington was with Atlanta when they acquired Trae Young. So, but take that name off if that was the name that you were potentially interested in for the Bucks to go acquire. So, but that's the first domino to fall, and we are less than a month away from the NBA trade deadline. Maybe this is the first one to fall, and maybe the waterfall kind of comes after that. But I do wonder, and I said it the other day, but I do wonder, with this stretch of games that the Bucks are currently on, will this determine whether the Bucks are aggressive at the deadline to acquire players or stand pat or, dare I say, move on from Giannis? And we chatted a little bit about it in the 9 o'clock hour, or was it 8 o'clock hour yesterday, I believe. But is Giannis if you're a Wisconsin sports fan, a Bucks fan, or a Giannis fan, but is Giannis at the point where you just want what's best for Giannis? Like, maybe you are I think it was Nick yesterday that chimed in saying, I just want Giannis to go win another one, and let's start all over, move on from him. Let's not waste don't waste Giannis anymore. Let him go get another championship. If you're a Bucks fan, are you kind of in that same mindset where, you know what, things aren't going great right now for Milwaukee? The Bucks are not playing good basketball right now. So I want Giannis to go have a better shot at winning a ring elsewhere. Do you want to see that? I mean, I shouldn't say do you want to see that. I think we all would like to see, if you're a Bucks fan, we would all like to see Giannis win another ring for Milwaukee. We'd all like to see that, right? But are we getting closer to the point of, all right, I just want him to win another ring. I want what's best for Giannis. Because the NBA is, in my opinion, becoming more and more of an individualized sport. Like, younger fans, they're clamoring, I think, more towards favorite players instead of favorite teams. And I think part of that, though, too, is because there's so much player movement within the league. It's so hard. 1 year you're on top of the world with your favorite team, but then their superstar's gone. Like, you're a Mavericks fan because you got Luka, then all of a sudden you wake up one day, or you go on the internet, or you turn on the TV, and it's like Luka got traded. What? How did that happen? Yeah, we see that sometimes in other leagues. Not as much, I would argue, in the NFL. We do see it sometimes in Major League Baseball. But the NBA, it comes a lot quicker. And that's where, like, when my kid, for example, if he's sitting there saying, Dad, I want so-and-so's basketball jersey, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, yeah, but how long is that guy going to be there? I didn't think that was going to be the case with Dame when he got his jersey last year for his birthday, and lo and behold, it was. I remember as a kid, I would get a lot of jerseys on clearance at Shields for like $10, $15. Players never played for them, for that team again, but it's like, hey, I just wanted a basketball jersey. It's just, yeah, it's so, I would argue the NBA is more individualized in terms of where you got a lot of fans that are fans of the players, maybe more so than fans of the teams. Like, okay, so my 8-year-old, he's a Bucks fan, but he's got favorite players from the T-Wolves, from the Hornets, from the Lakers, all across the board. That's not the case for his football. He's Packers through and through. Doesn't like Justin Jefferson because he plays for the Vikings. And maybe that would be different if, I don't know, like, Bucks had a rival with Celtics, Lakers type of thing. Maybe. But, and he's the same way with baseball too. Cubs, no. Can't like a player on the Cubs. He likes, Ohtani a little. He is an Aaron Judge fan, I will say that. So, all right, let's take a quick break. Send me some takeover topics. I want to hear from you, all right? Send them on over. Text it, 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. When your vehicle needs service, you want a shop that you can trust, and that's AJM Automotive in Eau Claire. From routine maintenance to more involved repairs, AJM Automotive delivers honest work, clear communication, and quality service that you can count on. Their experienced technicians take the time to explain what your vehicle needs so that there are no surprises, just reliable results. Whether it's brakes, whether it's tires, diagnostics, general auto repair, AJM Automotive keeps you safely on the road and back behind the wheel with confidence. For dependable auto care done right, choose AJM Automotive in Eau Claire, where your vehicle is treated like it matters. And don't forget a couple other things, because it is that season. If the roads are a little slippery, maybe you slide off the road, you just need a quick tow to get out of there. AJM Automotive helps you out there too. They also do snow plowing services. I know they're talking about more snow this weekend. So give them a call, 715-835-9523. That number again, 835-9523. AJM Automotive, located 1919 Brackett Avenue in Eau Claire. And if you remember from a couple weeks ago, we had that thing where we were looking, AJM, they reached out, said, hey, we want to help out a local volunteer, a local coach that volunteers their time and give them some snow plowing services. They did that, so a big thanks to John and AJM Automotive for doing that. So, and a thank you to all of you who did submit some people out there too. So, hey, in case you forgot, college football playoff is tonight. First game, Ole Miss, Miami, maybe kind of a little under the rug there. We do have our post-glass and mirror 715 Speaks poll question. It was posted on our Facebook page, the Sports Talk Facebook page, last night, asking who you think is going to win that game. The last time I checked it, it was 60% Ole Miss. I'll have to double check to see if it's still at that number. But if you want to hit me up with a text on who you think is going to win tonight, who you're rooting for, do you even care with this game? For what it's worth, Miami is favored by 3.5. Matchup predictor on the mothership on ESPN has them as a 57.1% favorite. So, and then tomorrow we've got the Big Ten one. Maybe that's the one that you're only worried about if you're a Big Ten fan, Big Ten country. So that'll be Indiana versus Oregon tomorrow night. So, but in this case, are you rooting for Ole Miss because of the Lane Kiffin thing, and you kind of want to see this team maybe stick it to Lane Kiffin a little bit? Maybe you just don't like you don't like Miami, so you're going to root against them. I'm going to do a little plug here, though. All right, so maybe if you're an Eau Claire person, you kind of have a sort of University of Miami connection, though. And tomorrow, so one thing I've always wanted to do, like, I'm a big sports history nerd. If there's a good documentary on anything, history-wise, especially sports-wise, I'm a sucker. I would love one day to make a documentary. Probably never going to happen. So the closest thing I could probably do is like a podcast documentary of sorts. Like, I've got a minor in history from UW-Eau Claire and that. I've always loved history. So I've always wanted to do like a kind of like a sports history. I always joked, but I'm actually truthful. I would love to be like a sports history teacher and such. But tomorrow, I'm dropping it. The first episode of Man Cave University. The first episode of Man Cave University is part of the Man Cave podcast. It'll drop tomorrow. And it's on a son of Eau Claire. His name is Howard Buck, a.k.a. Cub Buck. Graduated, born and raised in Eau Claire. Graduated in Eau Claire, early 1900s. Played college football at the University of Wisconsin. Played pro football with the Canton Bulldogs, where the one and only Jim Thorpe called him the greatest blocker that he's ever played with or against. Was Curly Lambeau's first big free agent signing for the Packers. and was the first ever coach at the University of Miami. That University of Miami that is playing tonight. Really cool story about a person you probably never even knew about. You go to the Packers Hall of Fame, though, his picture, his image is like one of the first ones that you see. At least it used to be from a couple years ago I've been there numerous times that I can't count, but it was right there. But maybe for people around our area, you didn't know a whole lot about him, or you don't know who this person is. But you're talking about a dominant, he was a lineman, okay? Dominant at the high school level, dominant at the college level with Wisconsin, dominant at the pro level in the early makings of pro football, and was the first coach at the University of Miami. It's a really cool story. And the one thing I wanted to do different than just make it, I know history's not for everybody. It's boring. So it's like, I want to make it entertaining. I want to be a storyteller. And it's fairly short. So it's not like you guys sit through 2 hours of listening. It's about 25 minutes long. That's it. Okay. One of these days I would love to do a full-on documentary, Netflix documentary type. That'll probably never happen. But hopefully you'll take it, give it a listen. A couple people have proofed it. Brandon's one of them, just because I trust our guy Brandon. So, but that'll drop tomorrow morning. So make sure you are following our podcast, the Man Cave Podcast, because it'll be available in there. I'll probably drop it around 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. So hopefully you take a listen to it and hopefully you enjoy it. But it's a really cool story that I think I would love to see Eau Claire, Chippewa Valley kind of recognize that a little bit more. It's such a, I mean, again, you're talking about, if you want to talk about football history and sports history in the Eau Claire area, you got a guy that was so good at the high school level, recognized nationally for his college play. One of the best players in the pro game in the early makings of it. Curly Lambeau, what made him like the first guaranteed salary player for the Packers. And then the first coach at the University of Miami. Guy was born and raised in Eau Claire. It's such a cool story that I think a lot of younger probably fans don't even know who he is. And you should, because it's a really cool story. So there's my plug. And there's your connection to the University of Miami. So, all right, we'll take a quick break here. Get back to some more football talk as well. Send me your enough's enough, all that fun stuff, your takeover topics. Packers fans, give me a vibe. How you feeling just a couple days away from kickoff against the Chicago Bears? Give me that vibe check, okay? Feeling good, feeling nervous, feeling confident, no confidence. Bears fans, give me your vibe check too. I know you're listening. Don't be cowering. You're not in hibernation right now, okay? Give me your vibe check. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back after these few words. Don't let aches and pains slow you down this winter season. Make your appointment today with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Our good buddy, Mr. Dr. Crow, whether it's maybe some joint replacements. Maybe you're a weekend warrior. Maybe you're a young athlete and you need to get a little tune-up. Athletic training, sports medicine, whatever the case may be, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine can help you get back on the field of play. Just check out their website at cvosm.com, cvosm.com for more details and to schedule your appointment. Let's catch up on a few texts here. Alex from Eau Claire says, vibes are high. That is all because I think the Packers are better. C-Bomb says, my vibe check isn't high enough for that type of... Oh, I should read the text above it. I want to know what Hetch wants to bet. Maybe a Facebook profile picture in the under rows of the winning team. I think I know what you mean there. My vibe check isn't high enough for that type of bet, LOL, but I'm feeling better the closer we get. See, I'm just kind of going through some of this. So going back to the ticket question, he said he had over 100 ticket stubs all framed. A couple that I really liked were from the Snow Globe game against Seattle. And even though we lost the following week to the NFC Championship game, the game against Denver, that we clinched the playoffs, thanks to the Cardinals upsetting Minnesota on the last-second touchdown, Steve Tasker's last game for Buffalo Bills, and him getting ejected at the very first play of the game. There was a lot of memories in those stubs, and he doesn't have them anymore. So I was at that NFC Championship game that you referenced to. I can still picture that ticket stub, too. I have it. I believe Paul Horning's on there and a couple other Packers, but it's like a mud bowl. And it was probably, that's pretty sure that's what the image is of. But I was at the Snow Globe game too, but I wasn't at the game. I was actually was in college at the time, so me and some buddies drove all the way to Green Bay just to tailgates, spend all day tailgating and watching the game in the parking lot on the TV. Which honestly, that was pretty cool just because of the snow coming down too. I mean, it made driving back a pain in the you-know-what. But this was when Kmart parking lot was still up. And, we had a group of guys. Everybody that was there, other tailgaters were in the game. So we just had like the whole parking lot to ourselves. You get the roar of the crowd as your background noise. Actually, where we were, too, you could kind of see the scoreboard, so see some of the replays in that. But watching that game on TV and having the snow come down, sitting in the parking lot, that was pretty cool, too. Even though we weren't at the game, it was a really, really cool experience. So I have got really good memories of that, too, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I got quite – I'm trying to think of some of my I've got my ticket stub. This one actually, the one ticket stub that I have that isn't actually from it's a Packers game, but didn't come from the Packers was, again, college, when Favre broke the touchdown record. Because that was at a time when tickets to go to Minnesota games at the Metrodome, Packers and that, you weren't getting forced to buy a preseason one, and they were dirt cheap. I mean, cheap. So me and like my 3 roommates were like, hey, this was in the summer. I think we bought them. Yeah, it was in the summer we bought them. Hey, we're going to school here at UW Eau Claire. Should we just go to this game? It was like September. Just drive over there. Yeah, why not? It's cheap, blah, blah. And then I remember the week before it was Packers-Chargers at Lambeau. And like Favre could have broke the record, could have broke the touchdown record. They had the game in hand, and they kneeled it or they ran it and such. Like, he could have broke the record at home. But game was out of hand, so we're like, oh, we're going to see this. And we could have, like, made a crap ton of money if we sold our tickets. Like, for college kids, that might have been the smartest thing is like, hey, let's cash in on these tickets, make some extra moolah. Probably wouldn't have gone to the right places might have went to Water Street and you know, had a little fun there. But we still went, and yeah, that was a really cool one there too. And I still have that ticket. But yeah, I miss those old stubs. Call me old school and that, but I miss that stuff. So keep those coming though. It's kind of our inside the hobby. We'll switch it up every week, every Thursday. You know, we just, because again, if you're just joining us, like, what the heck you guys talking about? Kind of a new segment on Thursdays, Inside the Hobby, where we kind of look at, because a lot of you, you know, whether it's sports card collecting, sports memorabilia or such, I peruse and look for some stories, some new stuff, and kind of bring it up and get your takes on it, get your thoughts on it. And the one that we did today, there's a collector apparently he's inching closer to having every ticket stub for every Michael Jordan game. Every game that Michael Jordan played, there is a collector that's over 1,200 games. He's a little over 100 games away from getting every ticket stub. So we're like, kind of like, okay, do you keep ticket stubs? A lot of you saying yes, you still have them. So that's pretty cool. So, vibe check, couple more vibe checks. We've got Eric saying he's at a 7 out of 10 in terms of Green Bay. Got another one here. Matt says he's at a 6. We've got another vibe check that just came in. Don't have a name for this texter, but they're also at a 6. So yeah, you can continue to send those on over, or hit us up on the video stream if you'd like. So we'll get to more picks. Obviously, we'll pick these playoff games coming up tomorrow on our Football Friday, but we do have a college football playoff game tonight. So if you haven't voted on that, it is our Post Glass and Mirror 715 Speaks poll question on the Sports Talk Facebook page. We asked, who are you picking? And right now it's 58% Ole Miss. Are you picking Ole Miss because you want Ole Miss to win? Or do you think they can win? Like, what's kind of your rooting interest? Maybe you just don't give a lick. And you're more focused on tomorrow night's game because it's Big Ten. I get it. I understand that. But if you haven't voted, you can hit me up with a text and we'll add it on there too. So continue to send me your Takeover Thursday topics. You got a topic that I'm going to get to some of these here in a little bit, but continue to send those on over. You got a topic idea. This is where we put the show in your hands. You can act as a producer. You can act as, hey, I think this is, me and my buddies, we're talking about this in our texting chain. Let's throw it out to everybody else. What are your thoughts? Send it on over. It is also a Enough is Enough Thursday. What's the narrative? What's the sports opinion that's getting casted out there that you just want to say, man, enough is enough with that type of talk? Also, send me your questions for Mr. Jake Boakes, our conservation warden buddy from the great state of Wisconsin. If you got any ice fishing questions, you've got any hunting, trail riding questions or such that you would like to ask a DNR warden, please text those right now, 715-830-1912. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but I want your contributions here this morning. We'll take a really quick break, and we'll be back to wrap up the second hour. Already flying on through here. Halftime's approaching, man. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back after these few words. All right, we got about 9 minutes left to the top of the hour, and then it's halftime here. We're going to get back to some more green and gold chat as we get set for this Packers-Bears matchup. Got a couple of you that texted on over some Takeover Thursday topics relating to that, so we'll hit that up as we begin the next hour. So, but continue to send those on over if you'd like. If you got a good topic that you think would make a good one for a conversation and such, send those on over. Continue to send me your vibes, your vibe checks. All right. What do you got? Feeling for this Packers-Bears game. I want to hear from both Packers and Bears fans. All right. I want to hear from both of you. Both sides of the aisle. Both sides. Getting both takes on that. Packers yesterday did practice. Today will be their last practice, and so we should get game designations and such, but nothing really different from the day before, other than that Bo Melton was placed on injured reserve, so his season is now done. But other than that, Josh Jacobs chatted a little bit with the media, said this is the healthiest that he has been, or the best he has felt since the last 6 weeks or so. So he's feeling good. I think that's going to be key in this game. I know I touched on it a little bit yesterday, but I think a healthy Josh Jacobs in this game is going to be a big factor. It should be. It should be a big factor for this game. But remains. I think a lot of it's going to be dependent on, too, with Josh Jacobs, how much of a bigger factor is he going to be in this game, is as long as Green Bay doesn't get themselves in a deep hole. I think Green Bay can, obviously they've displayed they can move the ball through the air. But I think a big key to victory for this, or a big thing that Green Bay really wants to establish in this game, also to help control the clock and control time of possession and keep that Bears offense on the sideline, is establishing that run game. So hearing that Josh Jacobs is feeling great, fantastic, the best he has in the last few weeks here, he's off the injury report, it's going to be huge. One of the questions came in from C-Bomb a little bit earlier was, how big of a boost will Zach Tom be coming back? So I'll touch on that. We've dabbled into it a little bit earlier in the week, but I'll hit that up a little bit more coming up in just past the 8 o'clock hour. So elsewhere, what else do we got here? Looking at some of the coaching news out there. So Robert Sala's been getting some. Now those are getting reported. Going back to Jeff Hafley. And I know, so I was reading a little bit from CBS Sports yesterday, because I wasn't the only one thinking this, but there wasn't really a lot of requests for coordinators, coaches for head coaching interviews that were coming this week. And I was like, that's interesting. Now, coordinators who are coaching this week are not allowed to interview this week. They have to interview next week. But there was an article by Jen Jones from CBS saying there was kind of an understanding amongst teams that, okay, let's not request those interviews until later on. Let them focus on Wild Card Weekend. It's like, okay, because we haven't heard Jeff Hafley being requested for an interview yet. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. But now Robert Saleh has been requested a few times, and while the 49ers are playing. So I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if that means teams, I doubt it. I highly doubt it that teams aren't interested in talking to Jeff Hafley. I doubt that. And I think we're going to see probably next week, whether Green Bay wins or loses this game on Saturday night, we're probably going to see more teams request those interviews with Hafley. So if there's anybody out there that is kind of like, hey, does that mean that he's not going to get a head coaching job, and that means he's going to stick around a little bit, I would pump the brakes. I would pump the brakes just a little bit. So, but yeah, we'll have more Packers talk coming up next hour. Packers, Bears, all that fun stuff. We'll hit that up. Get to more of your Takeover Thursday questions as well. A couple of other texts to round out the second hour. We've got Jim says that his vibe's at a 7 right now. I feel like if the Packers can control the ball and win the time of possession, that they're going to be able to come away with a W in Chicago. Feel less confident, though, about them going to Seattle in the divisional round. Another texter's at about a 5. And it's okay, so 5 pretty much. I get that. You're down the middle. Well, look at the 2 games in the regular season. 1 play decided the outcomes of these games. So, yeah, if you're at a 5, I get it. I don't think it's copping out by any means. You're probably basing it off of the outcome of the 2 regular season games that we just saw in December. And this is the thing, too. This is the unique thing about this game. Not only is it the 3rd time that it's Packers versus Bears, it's the 3rd time in like a month's span. So it's not like we can use the phrase, well, these 2 teams are different from the last time they play. No, they're not that much different. It's not like they played in September and October, and this is the first time since then. They just played each other twice in the last month, give or take. That's the unique thing about this, too. And I think that's kind of the challenge that both of these coaching staffs have in preparing for this game. Going back to what we were talking about in the first hour, do they have something new? Can they do something different to catch these each of the teams off guard? Or is it because it's so fresh? They just played each other. Like, how difficult is that? I don't know. I think it's fascinating. And it's going to be interesting to see how these 2 coaching staffs get these 2 squads prepared and lined up. All right, shot clock. Going to cut me off here in just a few seconds. So we'll kick off the next hour, hitting up some questions from our Takeover Thursday. Don't forget, bottom of the hour, though, Jake Bolks will be joining us, answering your questions. So send those on over. Text them to me right now, 715-830-1912. News updates. It's halftime. We'll be back to kick off the 3rd quarter coming up in just a couple minutes. All right, halftime is over with. Third quarter is kicking off right now on this Thursday morning of January 8th. Big time shout out to all of you listening. However you're listening, got multiple different ways, whether it's on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online to stream up at our website at sportstalk1051.com. You can download the Wisco Sports App. YouTube video stream also up and rolling. Alexa devices, just say, yo, Alexa, play WAYY. And hopefully we just turned on a bunch of Alexa devices for you if you were listening that way. So coming up at the bottom of the hour, because it is a DNR Warden Day, Mr. Jake Boaks, our Outdoors Day. He'll be joining us via the phone line to answer your questions, your listener questions. So please send those on over. I got a couple of them through email this morning, so we'll get to those. But if you have that ice fishing question, if you've got, if you're a snowmobiler, trail riding question, I know some of them county-wise have been delayed, or I shouldn't say delayed, but they've closed because of the warmer weather and such. You can still text those questions or send us those questions as well. So we'll get to those with Jake coming up at the bottom of the hour. It is Thursday, which means it is also a Enough is Enough Thursday. What is the sports narrative? What is the sports opinion that's maybe kind of being floated out there that you're like, you know what, enough's enough? For example, maybe it's like, enough is enough with the Matt LaFleur being fired talk. Enough is enough that Jordan Love isn't getting enough love from the fan base. Those are just a couple of examples. So send those on over if you have any. It is also a Takeover Thursday, where we put you, the listener, in kind of that producer role. If you have a topic that you think is worthwhile to chat with our fellow armchair MVPs, if you got something that maybe you and your buddies in a group text have been arguing or going back and forth about, so you want to put it out there for the rest of us, send it on over. One of those came a little bit earlier from our listener, C-Bomb. C-Bomb had asked a little bit earlier, how big of a boost will Zach Tom be coming back from his injury for this game? And it's something we've touched on a little bit earlier in the week and such. But if you're asking for my opinion, C-Bomb, I think it's a big boost in terms of just the continuity is back on that offensive line, the comfortability of having Zach Tom at that right tackle spot back over there. You say what you want about Kennard or Morgan, whoever was playing over there, they split reps and such over there. But having Zach Tom, who I think we can, or a lot of us can agree, that is one of the more underrated players in this league and one of the better right tackles in this league, just having that comfortability, knowing that he is over there, I think is going to be an incredibly big boost in itself. And we just know the type of player that he is. You look at, if you want to use Pro Football Focus grades, his run blocking grade is 13th best among all tackles in the game at 81.9. His pass blocking grade, 15th best out of 89 tackles. His overall grade, 83.5, which is 8th best among 89 right tackles in the NFL this regular season. So that's the type of player you're putting back in that offensive line. It's a comfortability for the rest of the line. It's a comfortability factor for Jordan Love, for Josh Jacobs to run behind that line. So I think it is a big boost. Offensive linemen, obviously, they don't get a lot of attention or a lot of love because of they don't all the times score points and score touchdowns and such, but I do think it's going to be a big boost. And I think you're going to see Green Bay kind of really try to maybe run behind them a little bit more. They may not have to bring in an extra blocker at certain times. They're probably still going to bring in Kennard and that jumbo package that they've done a few times to really kind of establish the run, or maybe try to, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, does Matt LaFleur have something that's up his sleeve? Can he do something different when it comes to game planning in that? Maybe that's something where they bring in the jumbo package, but they run different plays out of that formation. So, no, I think it is definitely a a big boost for that. Another text, or actually this was an email that came earlier this morning. This is from Jim that asked, Jeff Halfley has been talked about, obviously, for a lot of head coaching jobs, but has there been any other chats about other Packers coaches? I haven't seen it. I know Adam Stenavich last year, the Packers offensive coordinator, Marshfield native, Michigan man, was getting some talk about head coaching interviews. I believe the Bears even interviewed him last year for a head coach position. But so far this year, no. And again, I don't know if it's that, going back to that article we referenced just a little bit ago from CBS Sports, where there seems to be kind of an understanding amongst other NFL teams who are looking for coaches that they're not necessarily asking for interviews for coaches who are coaching this week. They can, but it's kind of one of those wink, wink, handshake. Hey, don't do it because we want to focus on the wild card. That's why we haven't heard Jeff Halfley's name being requested for an interview. Maybe that pops up with Stenavich, but Robert Saleh's been requested for a few interviews, so I guess some teams aren't abiding by that necessarily. But I the Stenavich one, he's going to have the knock that he's not a play caller, that he doesn't call plays for Green Bay. And I believe it was last year, too, that he was kind of thought about going to a different situation or rumored to kind of interview for different spots where he would be the offensive play caller. And that's something that Matt LaFleur did himself. Remember, Matt LaFleur was the offensive coordinator for Sean McVay for the Rams, went over to the Titans because he wasn't calling plays for the Rams, called plays for the Titans for 1 year under Mike Vrabel. That was in 2018, and then gets the head coaching job with the Packers in 2019. So that's where you're seeing a lot of these offensive coordinators. If they're not calling plays for their teams, they're maybe looking for different scenarios or situations, if you will, where they can get that play calling experience and maybe kind of boost up their stock a little bit if they want to be a prospective head coach in the league. So I wouldn't be surprised whenever this Packers season is over with if we kind of hear more of that talk, if we hear more about Stenavich potentially looking at different options and looking for places where maybe he can call offensive plays. So whether that would be if Jeff Halfley gets a head coaching job elsewhere or just in different situation, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if he if we kind of find that out a little bit more next week. A message that came on Facebook too. Obviously, a lot of the topics are surrounding Green Bay this year. Let me bring it up here through Facebook. Okay, so this was from Ben. Ben said, how big of an impact do you think Matthew Golden is going to have in this ball game? It's a conversation me and my buddies are having. Some of us think he's going to be non-existent. Some of us think he's going to be a wild card player and ball out. I mean, we don't really know the answer till we get to the game, right? But I mean, it wouldn't. Maybe that's what. Hey, I'll take it from this side. I'll take it from both sides. I'll take it from one side. Hey, maybe that's one thing that Matt LaFleur has plans, that maybe he unleashes Matthew Golden a little bit, a guy that had a very quiet regular season. Maybe that's something new. We talked about what can Matt LaFleur, but also what would Ben Johnson do, but what's going to be something different they present to the Bears, a familiar opponent, that this will be the third time these teams play each other, but the third time in the last month or so. So maybe it is a Matthew Golden where he gets featured a little bit more. But then on the flip side, it's like maybe you go back to your bread and butter. Christian Watson is clearly the number one wide receiver. You got Romeo Doubs in that mixture too. Jaden Reed, who is probably their best yards after catch player with no Tucker Kraft in this. And we saw in that first game with Chicago, Green Bay really trying to feature Jaden Reed fairly early in that game. Do they try to do the same thing? Do they try to get the ball in his hands a little bit more and make him make some plays? If you look at the two games that Green Bay and Chicago played this year in the Packers' victory, If you're looking at receiving numbers, Watson had his 4 catches for 89 yards and a couple TDs. Jaden Reed had 4 catches on 4 targets for just 31 yards, but a lot of those came right away at the beginning of that game. And then you look at, in their loss, Jaden Reed, 3 catches, 35 yards. Christian Watson, just 2 catches for 17 yards on 5 targets. The difference, though, too, Jordan Love, that was the game that he was knocked out to that concussion. So, honestly, if I'm looking at it from a wide receiver side of things, I would say Christian Watson is going to be a guy to watch. But Chicago also knows that, too. What is Chicago going to do to kind of eliminate Watson, kind of take him out of that game? Do they bring that coverage over the top, double team, leak that safety over there? If that's the case, that is going to open up paths for guys like Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, maybe even a Matthew Golden. So keep those Takeover Thursday questions coming, though. All right, text them on over to that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Email it, Facebook it, Instagram it, or you can hit us up on the video stream. We're going to take a quick break. We'll have more Packers-Bears chat as we are just a couple days away from kickoff for this game. We've got college football playoffs tonight. Continue to send us your picks for that. The latest update in our poll question, it was 58% going with Ole Miss over Miami tonight. Bucks lost last night, falling to the Warriors. Off night today for them before they take on the Lakers to continue their West Coast trip. Marquette, for college basketball, also picked up a win last night, a much-needed win over Xavier. Locally wise, both the UW-Eau Claire men's and women's teams falling to UW-Platteville last night. Stout, you had the men's team picking up a victory over River Falls, the women's team falling to River Falls. And just really quick note, too, because I know we've got the hockey game between North and Memorial tonight. Obviously, the big-time rival and such. But as Justice Cleveland, who we had on earlier in the week, alluded to, it's the 50th alumni reunion. All alumni from 1975 to present from both schools. Pre-game going on at Dooley's Pub on Water Street starting at 5 p.m. Puck drop tonight at Hobbs at 7 p.m. All right, let's take a quick break. And we'll be back with more of your thoughts, your takes. Don't forget, last call, too, for those questions for Jake Boakes. Just send those on over. He's already ready and waiting. We'll catch up with him in about 14 minutes or so. Quick break, and we'll be back after these few words. Looking for a great place to grab a bite to eat, enjoy a cold drink, and maybe catch some live music, great local music? Well, then you should be checking out the VFW Post 305 located on Star Avenue in Eau Claire. From classic comfort food and weekly specials to affordable drinks and a welcoming atmosphere, it's a local spot where everyone feels at home. Add in live bands, entertainment, and events throughout the year, and you've got a go-to destination for a fun night out. Whether you're stopping in for dinner, meeting some friends, or enjoying local music, VFW Post 305 delivers the great food and the great times. VFW Post 305. Good eats, good drinks, great entertainment right here in the Chippewa Valley. Again, final call for any texts, or I should say any questions for Mr. Boakes, our DNR warden. It's been a couple weeks because of the holiday break, so sure you've got some maybe ice fishing questions and such when it gets out there. So feel free to text those now so we can get those on over to Mr. Jake Boakes. We got a couple emails from me here too. Enough is enough from Bob. Bob says, enough is enough with all the teams reported interest in Jeff Hafley. He's ours. Don't let him go, Green Bay. Make him the highest paid defensive coordinator. Well, I mean, we played that clip of him from yesterday in his presser. He still has that ambition to be a head coach at some point, and I appreciate that honesty from somebody in his position. We'll replay it a little bit later on here, probably coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. But he kind of downplayed it when he was first asked about, your name is being mentioned as a potential head coaching candidate, and you get the typical cliches, right? We're focusing on the now, focusing on the Bears. And then kind of in the follow-up, I mean, he was open. He's like, I would love to be a head coach again, and, and all that sort of stuff. So I appreciate him being honest with that. But I don't know if there would be a number that would keep Jeff Hafley in Green Bay if he has that big-time ambition to still be a head coach or get back to being a head coach, but a first-time head coach at the National Football League. So I don't know if he would consider going back to the college levels again. I don't know if it'd be like, let's say, a team, a bigger program than Boston College where he came from, come calling. Would he consider that? I don't know it, because if we go back a couple years ago, when he left the college world to join Green Bay as a defensive coordinator, sure seemed like he did not like the current trend of the college world, the college sports world. So seems like he's an NFL guy because he wants to worry about coaching, straight up coaching and such. So speaking of college, I mean, if you've been following along with Wisconsin and the Badgers and the transfer portal and such, Wisconsin, it seems like on the surface, they're doing a really good job with the transfer portal. I know when we talked to our Badger guy, RJ, on Tuesday, he kind of broke it down and such and liked a lot what they were doing. But, they've been pretty darn active. They got now this P.J. Wilkins, who's coming from Ole Miss to Wisconsin. They picked up a running back that was at USC that is coming now over to Wisconsin. We talked about Abu, from Iowa State. That was who RJ was talking about earlier on as well. So, yeah, there are a lot of 3-star guys on there, which some Badger fans are like, okay, great, they're 3 stars. But, again, you're looking at some of these guys, and it's a little bit different from 3-star athletes, I would say, coming out of high school compared to guys who are playing at big-time college programs and coming over to Wisconsin. I mean, you got a couple of linemen from Oklahoma State's university, from Florida State's corner secondary. That's kind of been the big thing. And RJ, again, talked about it on Tuesday. They're really remaking that secondary, that defensive back group, and bringing in guys, from the South, if you will, from Florida State and guys that are coming in with at least a couple years of eligibility. So if you still are one that, looks at these class rankings and such, Wisconsin right now is top 5 in transfer portal commitments through the first 5 days. So that's pretty pretty impressive. We knew that this was going to have to be something that Wisconsin was really going to have to do from the football side of things. And so far, it seems like they're knocking it out of the park, that they're doing a really, really good job with it. So hopefully that continues. But as we've known, we've been excited before about recruiting classes, commits, and that sort of thing. Some of them work out, some of them don't. But at least in this case, we've seen some of these guys play at the college level already. So, a little bit of breaking news. Kind of jinxed it. The Titans did put in a request. It looks like this is according to Ian Rappaport. The Titans have put in a request to interview Jeff Hafley. So that one is out there. That's the first one I've seen when it comes to Hafley getting a request. I don't think it's going to be the last, but Ian Rappaport just posting that up a little bit ago. So says the Titans continue their search, and sources say they have request slips in for Jeff Hafley, Robert Saleh, and offensive coordinator for the Steelers, Arthur Smith. All three of those coaches, though, remember, they cannot interview until next week because they're all in action this week for wild card round in the playoffs. All right, we'll take a really quick break. And where are we at? Oh, there we go. Okay, we'll take a really quick break here, and then we're going to switch gears for just a little bit for our outdoor segment with Jake, where he answers your hunting, fishing, outdoor-related questions. So let's do that. We'll take that first, that really quick break and be back with more coming up after these quick words. Bottom of the hour on this Thursday morning, which it means it's time to catch up with our good buddy, the one, the only, Mr. Jake Boakes, Wisconsin Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. It's been a couple weeks since we've caught up with you, Jake. So first of all, welcome back. I don't know, I'm probably violating some New Year's rules, but Happy New Year's. Probably, it's like after the third day, I think you're supposed to stop saying that. But how you doing, man? Did you have a good holiday break?
It's been good. I appreciate that nice intro. Yeah, no, I told a guy the other day when I was working Happy New Year's, and he kind of looked at me like it's the 6th of January, dude. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah,
right. So I hear you on that.
It's
good. It was a good New Year's, and I got out fishing a little bit with some friends and stuff. So it was a good time.
Nice. Well, I'm kind of curious, like with the latest weather that we've had, warmer temperatures and rain and such. I mean, do people have ice shanties still out there? And, I see a lot of people on Facebook asking, hey, is it safe to drive on Wissota and all that sort of stuff? I got to imagine you probably get that a lot.
Yeah, no, we definitely get a lot of questions on ice, ice safety, ice thickness. The DNR, you'll see it on any publication the DNR sends out. We don't track ice thickness. It's just impractical for, the tens of thousands of lakes that we have here. So it's very important that you check yourself when you go out, talk with other ice fishermen, talk to the Sportsman's Club, bait shop, stuff like that. Have people been driving trucks and small vehicles and stuff around different lakes in this part of the state and up north? Yes. Has it been a year where I feel comfortable bringing any vehicle out there yet? No. It's just been one of those years. Don't get me wrong. I know there's some places that have good ice, but it's just between these, these warm-ups and cool downs and rain and snow and ice and sleet. It's been a very weather-dominated winter. So who knows what some of the lakes and some of the ice conditions are like.
Right.
It's probably changing from day to day on some of these water bodies, so you gotta be cognizant of that.
Right. Yeah. No kidding. And I got to imagine too. I mean, it was there for a second, but like the snowmobile trails and such. I mean, they opened up a little bit, and then weather again. So I mean, we did have a question that came in that asked, how much are you involved? I don't know if they meant you specifically or the DNR involved in like monitoring snowmobile trails and determining whether they get opened or not.
It is a good question. So generally the state isn't involved with any of like the grooming, the maintenance, the decision on opening or closing them, anything like that. That is all, it's part of the Snowmobile Association, but more locally it's decided county by county basis. So some counties, they're like county parks and department, parks and forests or parks and woods, whatever department kind of takes care of that and makes those decisions. In other counties like Eau Claire, they have a snowmobile group that grooms the trails. They got members, they got clubs, which they're always looking for help. They're always looking for new members and stuff. So feel free to join those. But they as a county association, they decide when the trails are ready. Because they're the ones out there doing the work and getting it ready. So it's up to them to make that decision.
Gotcha. All right. So, hey, moving over to hunting, because we've got, some areas, right, that the bow season still is open to the end of the month. Am I correct in saying that, Jake?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we've been doing shows since September, and we can still say that the archery season in Eau Claire County goes for another 2-3 weeks here. So you still got a chance. I mean, on these 38-degree days, I'm sure the grass and the fields and everything are poking out in different areas. I mean, there's definitely opportunity to harvest deer. Now, depending on what you're looking for, bucks might already be shedding some of their antlers or on different patterns, but yeah, the season's open crazy enough, and the weather's actually somewhat tolerable for it too.
Speaking of I just thought of this question. You mentioned the bucks shedding their antlers, that 3-inch rule. So say somebody's out there archery hunting, they get a deer, they find out it's a buck, but it shed its antlers. Would that qualify for under the 3-inch rule, and they could use the antlerless tag for that?
Yeah, they would have to use the antlerless tag.
Oh.
so we call them buck and doe tags, but legally, and when you read the tags their tags are defined as an antlered deer and a antlerless deer.
Okay.
So like you can have antlerless deer, especially this time of year if the bucks drop it, where you flip that thing over and you're like, oh, that's a dude.
Yeah.
It's an antlerless deer, and you register it as such, and that's why some people don't hunt later, because you potentially could have just shot like one of your bucks that you wanted when the antlers were on it. So that's a risk in these later season archery hunts. But yeah, so in Wisconsin, you could shoot and I'm sure we've all seen different Facebook posts or news stories of it where there's a doe that has like an 8-point rack or or this or that. So that's why it's antlered or antlerless deer when it comes to registering them.
Good little nugget there for sure. Hey, fishing wise, going back to that too, because earlier in the week, Jake, I'm looking. Did early inland trout open up? Or
Yep.
Okay, it did open up.
Yeah. So it always opens up the first Saturday closest to the beginning of the year. I don't exactly remember how the statute totally reads, but something to the effect of the early season starts the first Saturday of the year, and so that's been open. It is important that if you are going to go do it, it's not just like a carte blanche to the trout season is open. It is like an early like trout stream season, and a lot of the areas are like either barbless hooks or no live bait or catch and release or different things like that. So the trout season can have a lot of different regulations or kind of condensing that, but it's very important that if you're going to go out trout fishing, which I have seen people out, I mean, the rivers and streams are open and there's opportunity. Just make sure you read whatever river you're on or stream you're on, and you're following the correct rules for it.
All right. Yeah, and again, just a reminder, it is catch and release too. So can't keep them.
Yep.
Right?
So yeah. So yeah, again, yeah, exactly. And whether you're talking trout, whether you're talking, fishing right now, everything's still open, but in a month or two, where stuff's going to be closed, but you can still, go pan fishing, but walleye, northern, that will be closed. So again, it's always a good reminder that even if it's the middle of the summer, middle of the winter, it's always good to double check the regulations on whatever lake you're going out or stream you're going out to make sure what you want to keep or what you're targeting for is actually open and allowable.
Speaking of which, I know it's next week too, but for anybody who maybe hasn't gone ice fishing yet, or maybe is thinking about going and trying it, you got your annual free fishing weekend coming up next week, correct?
Yep. I was just thinking the same thing. I was going to transition right into that too. Smart minds, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the 17th and 18th, I believe, are the dates, is the weekend for the free fishing weekend. So kind of like we were just talking about, it doesn't mean you can go out and catch 14 walleye and just keep all the fish. The bag limits, the length limits, the seasons are still in effect, but you just don't have to have a fishing license or a trout stamp or anything like that. So yeah, if you haven't bought it or you're going to a fishing tournament that day or something like that, you're good to go. You don't need it.
Mm-hmm. So what was, with this, is this kind of, because we have one in the summer too for open water and such, is this kind of the main goal is to maybe kind of open up the sport of fishing for more people to kind of try and just kind of, display that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's just another opportunity for the public to get out there without having to pay anything and experience something new that they haven't done or they don't regularly do, or they're sitting with a friend or a family member, and just have an opportunity where you don't have to pay or worry about licenses or creating a DNR account or anything like that. You have family over from Minnesota, Iowa, whatever, they can fish. Just kind of another opportunity to enjoy the Wisconsin natural resources at an easier level.
Mm-hmm. Jake, this was a question I just thought of too, because I saw this on Facebook. I follow some of the scanner pages for like Eau Claire, so you kind of get that. And I did see this one a couple weeks ago, and I immediately thought of you because I know we've had this discussion before, but maybe it's kind of a good reminder. But there was somebody that apparently hit a deer, according to the dispatcher, but they wanted to keep the deer. So I'm like, hey, we've talked about that before. They need to listen to the program if they want to keep that deer when they hit it.
Right.
So in that
Exactly.
case, what should that person have done other than, call maybe a tow truck into police? But if they wanted to keep that deer, what's the proper way to do that?
Yeah, so the best thing to do, like you just mentioned, is make sure you're safe. If the deer needs to be dispatched, call 911 and have them come out. Make sure you take care of yourself in the car and the deer first. But then, if you want to take the deer, or say you don't want to take the deer you hit, but someone pulls up and says, "Hey, can I take it?" Whoever is the first person that wants to claim that deer, obviously first come first serve on the driver. All they have to do is, before they leave the scene, or, we do give a little bit of lenience if you want to get off the road so you're not on the side of, Highway 12 or 94, is you just have to get it registered. You have to call the Car Kill Deer hotline. It's a Madison phone number, so it's a 608 number. You call that 608 number, and if you don't get a representative right away, you just simply leave a message saying who you are. I'm Jake Bolks. I hit a deer on I-94, south of Eau Claire. I want to claim it. I'm going to claim it. I'm going to remove it from the road. And then they'll register it for you under your DNR account. So if you ever look at your harvest history, you'll see that there's a Car Kill Deer harvest on the date and time of that phone call. The biggest thing, which we don't see a lot in the fall because people just want the antlers, but the biggest thing is that you have to remove the whole deer. You can gut it out there on the side of the road if you want. That's fine. You can leave the insides. But you have to take the whole thing. So if it's a fresh deer, you want to eat it, fine, you're going to do that anyways. The biggest thing we see, like I've mentioned, is in the fall, people just want the antlers, so they just come and cut the head off or cut the antlers off, which is illegal. You would have to take the whole animal and dispose of it properly if you want just the antlers.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, the whole thing's got to be removed.
Gotcha. Well, Jake, before I let you go, anything else that you kind of want to throw out there? Maybe safety reminders or reminders for trails, ice fishing, anything else out there?
I would say, with the weather, kind of from the beginning of this conversation, the big thing is going to be just monitoring. Before you go and do something right now, with it just being a weird time, is monitor the trails. Like if you want to rip around on the sled, you can always go on the lakes. Those are open, anytime it's frozen. But if you want to go on the trails, make sure that county is actually open. Eau Claire County is closed, but some of the local counties around here are still open, or parts of those counties are open. So if you're riding on the closed trails or trespassing or anything like that, that's a big problem. It damages the trails, but it also damages private property. So we take that seriously, working with the state snowmobile club. So just know before you go type of thing. Same with fishing. You'd be surprised how many people don't have their fishing licenses this time of year. So make sure you have a fishing license. Nothing resets until April 1st. So you use your whole fishing license, or you use your fishing license you bought in 2025 all the way through most of the winter. So if you are going to go ice fishing still, you're going to join some of those tournaments for a day, make sure you get a one-day license or an annual license. And it's a lot cheaper than a citation, I can tell you that.
Interesting. All right. Good stuff as always, Jake. Hey, appreciate the time.
Yeah.
Good to catch up with you, man. And be safe out there, and let's catch up again next week, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Happy New Year again, man. Appreciate it.
You too, buddy. There you go. There's Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden for the state of Wisconsin. All right, let's take our final break before we wrap up the third hour. Get back to some more football talk out there, more hoops talk, and whatever else is on your mind, because it is a Takeover Thursday. So we'll take a quick break and be back in just a couple minutes. If you're serious about great meat, then you need to know about Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. From hand-cut steaks and fresh ground beef to flavorful brats, sausages, and premium pork, Mike's Star Market is known for quality that you can see and taste. Everything is prepared with care using trusted sources and time-tested methods that keep customers coming back. Whether you're firing up the grill, planning a family dinner, or stocking up for the weekend, Mike's Star Market has the cuts and the flavors that you are looking for. It's quality, it's tradition, it's local. It's Mike's Star Market, proudly serving the Chippewa Valley. Just saw, too, that the Packers have informed the media that the media will not be allowed to watch practice today. It's going to be a closed practice session. So maybe they are working on a few different wrinkles to try to catch the Bears by surprise this weekend. Maybe. But no, not just thought that was kind of interesting that they are closing practice today to the media. So, but later on today, we will have that final injury report since the game is on Saturday. That final injury report for both Packers and Bears will be released later today. It sure seems like that everybody will be able to give it a go. I think the only maybe major question mark would be Dontavian Wicks because he's going through concussion protocol at this point. So yesterday he was he still listed as a limited participant? Yes, still listed as a limited participant. And again, reminder, Bo Melton was placed on injured reserve, so his season is done. If you're kind of wondering for the Bears side of things, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who is also going through a concussion protocol, he did not participate yesterday. Other ones on there, you've got Jalen Jones, a limited participant. Couple other guys not participating as well with concussion protocol. So, but Packers-wise, I mean, on one hand, you could say, hey, they're pretty healthy going into this game, but then you kind of look at, well, yeah, I mean, healthy for what they've got on their roster because we know that throughout this season they have been missing a ton of players. So, but, yeah, as our good friend Rob Demoski from ESPN said yesterday, healthy-ish, other than the 15 players already on the injured reserve. Man, that's a ton. So, but send us your vibe check. All right, vibe check, Packers fans. How are you feeling now that we are just 2 days away, a couple days away, 2 days and change away from kickoff for Saturday Night Football? Or if you're a Bears fan, I know you're out there. All right, don't have to hide. You're not hibernating. Okay, give me a vibe check. How are you feeling about this game, 1 through 10? Or just describe how you're feeling. Vibe check, okay? Feeling good, feeling confident, feeling nervous, not confident whatsoever in this matchup. Obviously, tomorrow is our Football Friday, so we'll be doing, the full-on breakdown and predictions and such. But you can give me a vibe check. A lot of you that originally chimed in on this said you're feeling better and better as the week is going through. Is that really you're feeling better, or is it just because the what am I trying to say? Adrenaline is starting to kick in, and those competitive juices are starting to kick in a little bit. I'm guilty of that a lot of times too. So, but got a couple messages on Facebook saying vibe, feeling confident in Green Bay this weekend. That is from Eric on Facebook, and I got one on Instagram too saying, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that username there, but they're saying my vibe is at an 8. So continue to send those if you'd like. Hoops-wise, we talked a little bit about it earlier on in the program, but last night the Milwaukee Bucks falling to the Golden State Warriors, and Doc Rivers very upset with the officiating from last night's game, especially when it came to Draymond Green. That's heard that before from a lot of people when it comes to Draymond Green, but there was a certain instance where there was a hard foul on Giannis in the game last night, and it was not called a flagrant. In fact, Giannis got called up for delay of game because he thought it was a flagrant foul. After the game, this was from Eric Name, who covers the Bucks for The Athletic. was asked, he did ask Doc Rivers about what he thought about his team's ability to keep their composure. Doc kind of vented a little bit about the officials, saying, quote, "I thought in the first half we didn't do a good job of it, but listen, I also thought veteran teams like this, the Warriors, get away with things. How you don't look at that flagrant foul is ridiculous, right? And listen, I'm a big Draymond Green fan before I say that. And the reason I am is because he is such an instigator, all right? But they called a tech in the first half on Porter after Draymond Green's waving his hands at the refs, yelling at the refs. But then they call a tech on Porter. I mean, give me a break. Clear, flagrant foul. It was a windup. It was impact. They didn't even look. And then they, all three, come out at halftime and tell me, man, we blew that. That was a flagrant. We should have looked. My only question, well, what were you looking at then? I mean, you called a foul, so you saw something. It's really frustrating there. So that's what I'm saying is, in our defense, they say that that's frustrating. And then Porter's saying, I barely say anything to the ref, and I got a tech. I'm hearing this guy cuss at him and nothing, so that's frustrating. Bucks will be back at it tomorrow night, continuing their West Coast trip, taking on the Lakers. Right now, when you look at it in terms of the standings in the Eastern Conference, the Bucks are one game back from that final playoff spot. Right now, it's the Bulls that are holding on to that final playoff spot because the Atlanta Hawks hold a little bit of an advantage in terms of win percentage. Bucks are technically one game back from both those teams, but Atlanta's in the ninth spot currently. But Atlanta just traded Trae Young yesterday. So how much of an effect will that have on this team going forward? And maybe that's a possibility. That I know Trae Young's name was kind of being floated out there, mostly from Bucks people out there as maybe a potential target for the Bucks to make a move. But Trae Young getting traded to the Washington Wizards definitely changes a lot of that stuff. But you know, we look at this Bucks team. They're 37 games into the season. They're approaching that halfway mark. And they're going to get to that halfway mark after this West Coast trip, this very difficult West Coast trip. It's going to be very interesting to see where the Bucks are at record-wise, standings-wise, when they get past this Lakers game, the Nuggets a couple times, the Thunder, the Spurs, the T-Wolves just across the border. Because, and that all goes up to the 23rd. If we get to the 24th, which then is only a week and a half, 2 weeks to the trading deadline, if the Bucks are, I mean, they're 5 games under 500 right now. If they go up to like 8 games under 500, how does that affect what the Bucks do at the trade deadline? Do they still try to be aggressive in finding a player to pair up with Giannis, another scorer, another offensive option? Or is it the question that, they're going to move on from Giannis at that point? And something we threw out, we talked a little bit about yesterday, but if you're an NBA fan, if you're a Bucks fan, are you getting to the point where, okay, if it's just obvious that it's not working with the Bucks, that the Bucks are not going to be a playoff team, that they're not going to be a contender, do you just want to see Giannis have a chance to win another championship? You know, we had a couple people kind of say at this point, you obviously you want Giannis, but you want him to go win another championship before it's too late. Are you approaching that, or are you getting close to kind of approaching that mindset? And if the Bucks are, let's say they fall down a couple more spots in the standings after this stretch, what do you do? What do you do with that situation? All right, 3 hours in, 3/4 in, the final quarter, final hour coming up after these news updates. Send me your Thursday takeover topics, your enough's enough, if you haven't done so already. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. It is the final hour, final quarter, kicking off right now on this Thursday morning of January 8th. If you've been hanging out with us the whole morning, excuse me if there was a little pause there. I had to take a little sneeze. If you've been hanging out with us all morning long, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. If you haven't, where the heck have you been? All right. But coming up this hour, we'll revisit some more football talk because that's where a lot of people are. I think you can definitely tell we're getting closer and closer to game day because there's a little bit more excitement, a little bit more juice that's coming out there. So give me your vibe checks. How you feeling about this matchup? Packers, Bears. Text it on over. We got that Shoe Doctors bullpen line up and rolling at 715-830-1912. And within the final hour here, give me, I alluded to it yesterday. I gave you the homework assignment for today, but I alluded to it yesterday. Give me the player that you think is going to be kind of like a sleeper player in this game. Like, who's that player that you think is going to just kind of like maybe surprise, kind of shock some people? Nobody is talking about this guy, but I think he's going to go out there and help lead this team to victory. Who is that guy? It's a prediction. It's, no right or wrong answer in this because we obviously don't know who the heck is going to be until they get out on that field, right? So send them on over. Let's see who we got. All right, see if we got a majority of players out there. I want to play this clip. I did in the first hour, but just to kind of reset it. Audio courtesy from the Packers, but Jeff Hafley, who we've mentioned now is on the docket or on the list to interview for the Tennessee Titans head coaching position. His name being mentioned all year long, right? All year long about potential head coaching opportunities. And he was asked about it yesterday at the end of his presser. And I'm playing this because I think I think if anybody who has played at any level, I don't care if it was elementary school, middle school, high school, college, weekend warrior stuff, it doesn't matter. But you listen to this guy and you listen to his mic drop comment, you can tell why he gets so much praise and why a lot of people, defensive players, just sing his praises all the time. And every time that I've listened to his pressers, watched his pressers, you just kind of come away with a little bit more impressed, I guess. But I'll play this right now. It's only a couple minutes long. Again, audio courtesy from the Packers. This is Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley yesterday talking to the media.
Your name has been pretty popular as a potential head coaching candidate for this cycle. We all have career goals. What would that opportunity mean to you? And after 2 years here, where do you feel like you are in terms of being ready for that?
Well, I'll tell you this. It's hearing my name out there, that's obviously extremely flattering and very humbling, right? And I think when you work for an organization like the Packers and have a head coach like Matt and players like we do and a defensive staff like we do, I'm just honored to be in those. I think right now with all that stuff, it can be a distraction, so I'm trying to lock in on these playoffs and do the best that we can. And then whenever that time comes, we'll figure it out and go from there. But extremely honored and flattered, just to be mentioned, and you asked me that question. But for right now, this is the Bears. I mean, this is one of the biggest rivalries in all of football, one that I have watched for a very long time. Did not end the way we wanted to the last time we played there. So I am going to do everything in my power to focus on every minute that I have to give this organization and our players everything I got to go win this game.
Jeff, can I ask you that same question in a different way?
You can ask me any question you like, because even if I said no, you would.
Fair.
But you always phrase it like that, so you set yourself up for me. But I can't wait to see how you ask the same question differently.
Me too.
Okay, well, here we go. You don't know what the future holds, and neither do I. But to think about where you were a couple of years ago, you're coaching your own college program. What have these 2 years meant to you, and what do you think about what you've put together with this group, and just what has it been like for you? Because it seems that you're pretty damn passionate about this group that you've got.
Yeah, I love this group. I love being part of the Green Bay Packers, and I never take that for granted every day when I drive in and I get to see Lambeau Field, honestly. I mean, I'm a guy who started coaching Division III football and worked my way up to be a college head coach, and now I'm part of the greatest NFL organization that there is, getting called plays. So that is so humbling to me. I love the defensive players that we coach. Like, I love these guys, and I love the staff, and I love working for Matt. And I never take that for granted, not 1 second, which is why when I answer that question, I don't think it'd be fair to anybody in here, anybody a part of this, for me not to give everything I have for this game. Would one day I like to be a head coach again? Absolutely, for sure. But like, just even answering this question for you right now, I just am so grateful and so happy to be here and be part of this. And I've just loved coming to work every single day here. Like, even joking with you guys, like, I know sometimes it's hard and you ask hard questions, but you guys have been incredible. And I mean that. And it's not like that everywhere. So I thank you guys for that. Everything that I have been a part of here, from Goody to Ed to Matt, it's just been like, what a blessing to be here for me and my family. So I appreciate that. And we are not going to be done. So I will see you guys next week.
And there you go. There's the mic drop. He slaps the podium and walks off. Now, I know some people, some listeners, some fans have taken that as that's his, he really sounds like he's on his way out, that he's going to be leaving. And I get that, and I understand that when you listen to it. It gives that impression a little bit. But the truth is, he doesn't know. We don't know. Nobody knows at this point. We don't. So, but when you listen to that, when you hear some of his comments and such, and his appreciation to be there, and I don't know, like, maybe it's just me, but I'm curious, and if you go back to his other pressers and such, and if you go back and you listen, and I watch him every week and listen to it, but I just, you come away with the impression like, man, I want to play for that guy. I want to play for that dude. And I go back to what the Giants general manager said earlier this week, and Hafley's name has been mentioned with the Giants job even during the regular season because he's from the area. He's from that side of the country and such. So when Packers were over there playing the Giants, Hafley had a bunch of family in attendance. But the Giants general manager earlier in the week said, part of his process was he's going to go and watch some of the, I'm paraphrasing, but watch some of the coordinator press conferences and such and kind of get an idea. Well, if he tunes into some of Jeff Hafley's pressers and such, I think that's just going to move him up a little bit more on that list of like, okay, we got to get this guy in and let's talk to him and kind of pick his brain at this point and see if he could be a good fit here for the Giants. Because if I'm a general manager and I'm looking for a head coach and I'm just looking at first impressions and stuff, Jeff Hafley would definitely be up pretty high on my list. So I honestly, maybe one of the better things too, if you are a Packers fan and the Packers really want to hold on to Jeff Hafley for the future, make a deep run in the postseason. Make a deep run in the postseason and force teams to be patient in hiring their guys, because a lot of times, and we talk about it every year, everybody talks about it every year, do teams hire necessarily the right candidates? Are they patient enough to wait for some of these guys? Because a lot of times you see these coordinators that are in the AFC, NFC championship games or in the Super Bowls, they're not getting hired because some teams are just not that patient in waiting to hire those guys. The 49ers were patient when they hired Kyle Shanahan. Falcons were in the Super Bowl. Everybody in the world knew that's who the Falcons were going to hire, but they were patient, didn't make it official. You can't make it official until afterwards. But then you see some teams that are just, we got to get a guy right away, and they want to hit the ground running and maybe necessarily don't get the best candidate for that job. So maybe the best thing here for Green Bay is if you want to make sure you hold on to Jeff Hafley, if you want to make sure that's going to be the case, win your playoff games, man. Win your playoff games and make a deep run and force those teams to be patient. Because then I think too, what happens is if there's that one team that hasn't hired a coach, and you kind of look at the teams that are still out there, you can kind of you can kind of figure out, okay, they must be targeting that guy, and you must be going after that guy and such. So, but all right, tell you what, let's take a quick break. I want to get back to some more Giannis talk because there's a new piece from The Athletic about Giannis's future. Maybe some interesting quotes here. His future with the Bucks. So we're going to hit that up. But first off, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back here in just a couple minutes. So, in the never-ending saga of whether Giannis is going to be a Buck for his career, going to be a Buck to the rest of his season, or will he be traded and such? If you want Giannis to stick around, you might feel a little bit better about this latest piece from The Athletic. Sam Amick from The Athletic. It's a new one that just dropped this morning. And he was with the team last night in their game against the Warriors and such. And I'll just tell you one quote from Giannis in this piece. And if you're a Bucks fan, you might be fist pumping and saying, heck yes. Quote, there will never be a chance and there will never be a moment that I will come out and say, I want a trade. That's not in my nature. Okay? End quote. That's from Giannis. That's from Giannis last night to Sam from The Athletic. Doc Rivers, part of this piece here too, says, quote, if you're around the team every day and you saw those reports about Giannis, trade and such, you would just laugh. He's given no indication that he wants out. That doesn't mean that he doesn't change his mind or whatever, but Giannis loves being in Milwaukee. He loves playing for this team. If something happens someday where he changes his mind, I'd actually be surprised, but that can happen. It's frustrating for me. Giannis 2 or 3 times now has said, guys, I'm here and I love it. So, we was at, and there's a little bit more of a Q&A with this piece. And one of the questions was, he was asked about what's February 5th, to which Sam said, the trade deadline. And before you answer, here's the thing. The way that people have talked about your situation is that the only way you were going to get traded is if you decided in the next few weeks that you were done and that you would have to make a statement that you want out. I'm not getting that energy at all from you. Is that fair? Giannis responded by saying 100%. I think I've answered this question a lot of times. I'm not throwing a knock at you, but I keep on saying that conversations that are happening between other people, third parties, it's something that I can't control. I can't control what you're going to say with my agent or with my best friend or with my chef. I can only control what comes out of my mouth. And not one time have I shown that I'm not invested in this team. And if there was a time on the basketball court where you've seen that, Giannis doesn't look like he wants to be a part of this team no more, I want you to pinpoint that. There's never been an interview where I've said that. So I don't know why people discredit what I say. Like, even when your article will come out, people will say, yeah, but. To which Sam said, sure, but that's kind of why I wanted to see if you were willing and comfortable to say, like, listen, I'm not going anywhere right now. Giannis responded by saying, I am not going anywhere. I'm invested in this team. I want to turn this team around. I want to play good basketball. I want to be healthy. I want to help my teammates. I want to win games. The last 6 games we've played were 4-2. We've got a lot of games in front of us. I'm locked the blank in. I'm locked in. My priority is just staying healthy. So, Bucks fans, you hear that. You hear those quotes from Giannis. Do you feel better about that situation? Because I'll be honest with you, I feel a lot better about it. I know we've been down this before when it comes to pro athletes and others. We've kind of become accustomed to of not believe or falling in a trap of believing our favorite athletes or believing these players, and then it kind of comes to bite us in the butt. Do you feel better about the situation, or do you still feel skeptical? A little bit later on, Giannis was asked, are you planning on being here, though, the end of the season? But you're planning on being here through the end of the season, correct? Giannis responded by saying, my plan is to be here for the rest of my career. If they don't want me, Sam interrupted him saying, but you're the one in charge of this situation. Let's be real. Giannis said, I'm not the one in charge. I'm an employee. To which Sam said, no, you're not. I'm not letting you get away with that. Which is true. I would agree with Sam. Giannis can dictate this. Giannis responded by saying, I'm just being real with you. Look at it this way. I have a family office where I have employees who work for me, people who run my whole life, business, the day-to-day, investment, real estate, venture capital, endorsements, everything. It's between 8 to 12 employees, but I'm in charge. You know why? Because I'm the boss, the chairman. But on the court, I can only control what I can control. I'm not in charge. Somebody writes my check. Tomorrow, the person who writes my check might say, I don't want to write the check no more. Let somebody else write the check. Follow-up was, but in terms of the part that you can control, you're not saying anything that makes me believe you're going to use your voice to change your situation before the deadline. Giannis says, no, I'm locked in. I'm locked into my craft. I'm locked in with my team. I'm locked in to the situation that I have in front of me. That's pretty much it. And there will never be a scenario on this planet that I will ever quit on my team. That's not in my nature. So I have been one, though, too, to say, and I've been critical of Giannis for not just coming out and saying, what do you want? Because there's been other times where it's kind of been a little open-ended, a little wishy-washy, kind of leaving a lot of things up to interpretation. Like, what does he actually mean? Does, just flat out say, do you want to be here? Do you want to go? Just flat out say. Well, now he is on the record, word for word, saying, I will never ask to be traded. There will never be a chance. There will never be a moment that I will come out and say, I want to trade. And he is on the record for saying, again, that I'm planning on having my whole career be here in Milwaukee. I don't know Giannis personally. We can only gauge this based off of what we hear from him, what he says in interviews and such. But the fact now that he has put those comments to writing, I mean, and he's said similar stuff to this before, but the fact that he's kind of doubled down, tripled down on a lot of this, I got to believe him that this is what he feels like. And I understand where he's going with the whole, I'm not in charge of this decision such. But I also think, I don't think he's naive enough to know, like, hey, I could probably force the situation one way or the other. I could force going, if I want out, I know I could force my way into this. I could force a decision one way or the other. But I understand what he's saying. He's like, but I don't have a control if they up and decide that they want to start over and they want to move on from me and they want to just kind of reset everything. So I get both sides of it. And I think that's what he's trying to kind of display. Because, yeah, technically he is not the boss. He is not the one making decisions. And he's right. The Bucks could one day decide, John Horst and the ownership group could one day decide, you know what, let's just reset everything and move on from him. And Giannis wouldn't have any control in that. And I think part of it, too, is look at the Luka Doncic situation from last year. That caught everybody by surprise, including Luka. Nobody saw that thing coming. And that's a superstar player in Luka. And I think where that's coming from is, okay, look at Luka got traded. He didn't want to be traded. He didn't demand a trade. And he didn't have any say in it. And I think that's kind of where Giannis is coming from at this point. But if he wanted to force the situation, if he wanted out himself, if he wanted out, then yeah, he could force that situation. But from all accounts, he's not going to do that. He has said it now numerous times, and it's in writing. He is not going to do that. So as a Bucks fan, I feel better. I do feel better about that. We haven't gotten any inclinations that the Bucks want to move on from him. We haven't gotten any, reports or rumors that the Bucks are the ones looking to move on from him. So, yeah, as a Bucks fan, I feel better. I feel better about this situation that Giannis is going to be a Milwaukee Buck. Do I feel better about some of the decisions that the Bucks have made to help Giannis compete for a championship? Not really. I think they could be doing a lot better in a lot of situations. But if we look at it straight from the Giannis standpoint, I feel good because the Bucks are, I think, from a fan perspective, maybe it's mostly around our area. Bucks are relevant when Giannis is on the team. When Giannis is not on the team anymore, whenever that's going to be, the Bucks are going to lose some relevancy. We were talking a little bit about it earlier. It's become, in my opinion, such an individualized sport. People follow the players. People still follow some teams. I think you got the teams like the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, right? Those are the, teams that where fans are really into it for the team perspective, right? It's kind of like Packers fans. You're a fan of the team. But yeah, as a Bucks fan, I got to feel better about it. And I know I've been one that's been critical of Giannis and going out there to say, hey, say what you mean. Say what you want. What do you want? All he said out here, I'm not going to ask for a trade. Okay. It's out in writing now. It's out there in public. It's out there for everybody to see. I got to believe him. He has put his stamp on that. And I feel better as a Bucks fan seeing that too. All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll have plenty more. We got about 30 minutes left here, so we'll do that. Get back to some more football talk and such. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. A little NFL breaking news. Another head coach firing. This time, Mike McDaniel, head coach of the Miami Dolphins, no more. Apparently, the Dolphins, looking at some of the reports here, apparently Mike McDaniel and Stephen Ross met, and then after some reflection, the ownership deciding to make a move. So not only are they looking for a new general manager and one Packer front office person is a finalist for that, Eric Sullivan, but they're going to be looking for a new head coach as well. I know a couple days ago we kind of talked a little bit about it with the whole Michigan theme to it. I wondered would Harbaugh be a potential in that, because when Jim Harbaugh was, at Michigan and such, there was a lot of talk about would Stephen Ross try to lure him because Ross is a Michigan alum. Would he try to get Jim to his team? But now his brother's out there. You wonder, I think a lot of people are going to point to John Harbaugh as being the favorite for that, but I mean, he's the favorite for a lot of these openings right now. But 25% of NFL teams now are looking for a head coach. A quarter of the NFL teams are looking for a brand new head coach. 7 teams: Titans, Giants, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Excuse me. You know me in math. Not good. Titans, Giants, Falcons, Raiders, Browns, Cardinals, Ravens, and now the Dolphins. 8 teams looking for a brand new head coach. So, and I already know where some Packers fans are going to run with this too. And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But Mike McDaniel, new offensive coordinator for the Packers. Him and Matt LaFleur, very, very, very good friends. There was a podcast that I listened to a couple years ago. I think it was a couple years ago. But Mike McDaniel talked about Matt LaFleur and just had nothing, that's his guy. He said he owes a lot to Matt LaFleur and such. And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't be opposed to Mike McDaniel coming over and being an offensive coordinator. I mean, to be fair, Matt LaFleur's got a couple of really, really close friends who are jobless right now. Raheem Morris being one of them, and now Mike McDaniel. So if Jeff Hafley were to get a head coaching job, he's got one of his best friends. And Matt LaFleur did say the other day he already talked to Raheem Morris, didn't say anything about, whether he asked about helping him out for the playoff run and such. But there's a couple of options out there if they wanted to go from the outside in. So I think Mike McDaniel would be a home run offensive coordinator hire. And for anybody from a Packers side of things, if you wanted Matt LaFleur to give up play calling duty and kind of focus on just a head coaching role, I would be good with this one. Somehow, some way, if Mike McDaniel was brought aboard and to be the offensive play caller, I'd be good with that. What about you, Packers fans? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you agree with that? Yay or nay? Want to stick with Stanovich and such? Let me know. Okay. A little bit earlier, John had said, going back to the honest thing, to be fair, Luka was traded because of a bad GM. Get what you're talking about, though, too. But that's the thing, though. I mean, yeah, he was a bad GM, but the point of it being was Luka didn't have any control over it. And I think that type of move kind of opened up eyeballs for a lot of people saying, hey, it's still superstars control a lot of the stuff, but it only takes one person to kind of shake up everything. And nothing is 100% certain anymore because of that one person. So, Ian Rappaport, really quick, with John Harbaugh available and Dolphins owner Stephen Ross's ties to the family, he now looms as a key candidate for Miami. A reason to fire a coach with the thought that they could get Harbaugh. So, yeah, definitely. This is going to be a really interesting cycle. I think Harbaugh, the report was earlier this morning that he's not going to do any interviews this week. He's going to wait till next week to do some interviews. But I think Harbaugh is in such a driver's seat right now that he's going to get such a sweet deal. He's going to get paid, whether it's the Dolphins, whether it's the Giants, whether it's the Falcons, or wherever. that guy is going to be able to get a nice contract, I think, and he's going to be able to kind of control where he wants to go. I mean, really the only team that he's not going to is Baltimore, obviously. But if he, for whatever reason, called the Raiders, called the Cardinals, I think they'd be like stupid to not at least talk with him and engage their thoughts on that. So, if you're a Dolphins fan, it's gonna be a really weird season for you too, because now you're looking for a new GM, you're looking for a new head coach. You got the whole Tua fiasco. That's a huge cap hit. Whether you keep Tua or cut him, they cut him outright. That's $99 million in dead cap. So, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough couple of years if you're a Dolphins fan. Peter Schrager just also putting out there, as of last night, the Dolphins had no contact with John Harbaugh or his camp per sources. I'd expect that to change. And if you're connecting dots, Chad Alexander, interviewing for the Dolphins general manager, has a long history with Harbaugh from their Baltimore days. All right. Things just got a whole lot more interesting. We'll take our final break as we start to wrap up things. We'll do some picks. We got college football tonight. We'll hit that up and plenty more after these quick words. We've got about 15 minutes left to the top of the hour. It's the final segment, though, here on this Thursday morning. Just to kind of preview what's coming up tomorrow, Brandon Berg will be joining us as usual. We'll do our local sports roundup with him. Dr. Crow, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for our Inside the Training Room segment. It is a Football Friday as well, so playoff talk, playoff action, previewing, all that. We'll have the second playoff game in the college football playoffs tomorrow with Indiana taking on Oregon. So we'll know who the winner is for tonight's game, Miami-Ole Miss. They'll be awaiting the winner of that Oregon-Indiana game. So also tomorrow is the AJM Automotive Pump the Brakes Full Throttle and the Mike Star Market Cream of the Crop. So that's your homework assignments for the rest of the day. Think about who are your picks for your cream of the crop. All right. You can text those on over whenever you want. Email them, Facebook them. A lot of you do that, and Instagram and such. So, but that's your homework assignment for the day too. So, before we get to picks here, let's do it. He doesn't know I'm doing this. We've got intern Carter sitting across the board there. I'm going to have you have that mic right there, sir. So every Thursday, intern Carter going forward is going to be joining us. So welcome aboard, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
You got it. So every Thursday he's going to be joining us. That's why we kind of have Takeover Thursday. He's going to be helping us out and coming up with some topics and such. So let's get to know you a little bit, if you're cool with that, intern Carter.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me calling you intern Carter.
Yeah.
So intern Carter, you said you played football for a little bit for Eau Claire Memorial. So
Yep.
a little bit there.
Last 2 years, so junior and senior.
Okay,
So.
nice. So what is I like to do lightning round stuff for some new people, so we're going to do that. Favorite sport?
Football.
Favorite team?
Packers.
All right. Favorite hobby outside of sports?
Ooh. That's tough. I like golfing as a sport, so hunting I'd probably say.
Nice. But golf's a sport hobby,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So, all right. Well, then you do have to
Not
get
great
the
at
putting game in
golfing,
there.
but I like it.
Yep. Favorite movie?
Tombstone.
Ooh, solid pick.
Yeah.
I'll be your Huckleberry. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad the younger generation recognizes a movie like that. Favorite music?
I like country.
Favorite artist?
I don't really have one.
Okay. Well, you're in a good area, right, for country music.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Not at all.
Thank you.
No,
I do this. We do the Blue Gold podcast, and that's kind of our go-to question for our new guests.
Okay.
The co-host, who's the assistant AD, he is a big believer in pineapple on pizza, and I'm not.
No.
So we have a competition on
Yeah.
that. So
No, you can't put pineapple on pizza.
perfect. Thank you. Did you see the Packers video yesterday on social media where it was like a pizza question?
I didn't know.
Yeah, so they're debating, and I think it was, who was it? One of the Packer players. Can't remember who it was, but he made a point saying pineapple, no.
Yes.
So,
yes. Not at all.
Yep. How about, so let's do this. I'm going to ask you for some picks. Who do you got for tonight, Ole Miss or Miami?
Well, I want Ole Miss to win.
Yeah.
I would probably pick Miami to win.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of where I'm at right now, too.
they just dominate in the trenches, and
Mhm.
that's how you win football games.
So the Mike McDaniel thing, would you like to see him as offensive coordinator for Green Bay?
I would love it. I've been telling my family for the past couple months. I think if LaFleur, I would love him to keep his job, but I think he does need to bring in an offensive coordinator, and I would love Mike McDaniel to call plays for our offense.
I think that would be, it would be a natural fit. It would be, we know Miami's, like, when they were on with their receivers
Yeah.
and Waddle, that was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. I mean, they put up 70, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So I'd be all aboard about that.
Yeah.
For
Yep.
sure.
I would be too. That'd be fun to watch.
How's your vibe feeling for Saturday night's game?
You know, talking to a Bears fan, I told him, like, it's going to be worse if we lose because it's to the Bears, but it's going to feel even better if we win. And, I think we're the better team. I do believe we will win. But, you get a little nervous as the time comes. But I would probably pick them
Yeah.
to win. So yeah, I'm feeling good about it.
That's why
It'll be fun.
I hate going up against division teams in the postseason.
Yes.
Because of what you just said.
Yep.
You're on the losing side of it. You're going to hear about it for the rest of the year.
Yep. Especially the Bears, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know how old you were when it was like when they played in the NFC Championship game, but I was tied up in knots because I did not want to deal with that. Because that was a game to go to the Super Bowl too, obviously.
Yeah, yep.
So
Yep.
I just that's my one thing. But then if your team wins, it's pretty awesome.
It's better. I will say I did want them to face the Bears because I do think that's one of the teams that we can beat. And the Eagles, I think they're better than the Bears. Even though the Bears beat them, I think that poses a different challenge for us. So I did want to see the Bears in the first round.
I know I said last week, like, I didn't want to get into the whole I hope for this, but then Sunday rolled around and I was watching both of them, and I'm like, I'd rather play the Bears.
Yeah.
It creeped in. Like, I think I'd rather go back to Chicago and then go to Philly because that one I just don't trust.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what Philly was trying to do on Sunday.
I don't know. I would have tried to get the 2 seed. And I don't know.
I know Sirianni said they couldn't control what the Bears are doing, but they could control health, and I get that and I understand that. But if I'm Philly, I'd probably rather improve my chances of playing Green Bay than San Francisco.
Yeah, well, and the Ben Johnson's playing his former team.
Yeah.
So I picked the Lions because I really thought Dan Campbell would get his team ready for that game, and that's how it turned out. So
exactly. Yeah, if there's one team that I don't think you have to worry about phoning it in with nothing to play in that final game, is probably the Lions.
Yep, absolutely, with their coach, yeah.
So let's do some playoff picks for you.
All right.
Since you're in on Thursdays. So let's start off Rams-Panthers. Who you got?
Rams. Give me the Rams, yeah.
You already picked Packers.
Yep.
Bills-Jaguars.
This one was tough for me. I think I went Bills just because of Josh Allen. But again, the inconsistencies of Buffalo is tough, but I would go with the Bills.
Yeah. How about 49ers-Eagles?
I want the Niners to win. I would probably say the Eagles win, though.
Okay. How about Chargers-Patriots?
Patriots.
And then Texans-Steelers.
Texans. That front's going to get after Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So.
Do you root for Aaron Rodgers a little bit still?
I was last week, absolutely. This week, I still probably going to cheer for Aaron Rodgers. I like the guy just because for my lifetime he's done a lot for the Packers. But,
right.
It's time for him to be done.
Yeah.
So you just watching him run last week, it's time.
You could tell a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have a Super Bowl matchup yet? Or
at the beginning of the year, I picked Rams-Bills.
Okay.
Both teams still in it. I wouldn't necessarily change it. I think this year's so wide open that you could give me any prediction, and I don't think I could prove you wrong.
I kind of I don't know if I'm going to pick it, to be honest with you yet, but can't you see, you can almost make the case every road team wins this weekend.
Absolutely. That's what I was going through on your little poll question. I was really 5 teams, and then I went through it. I'm like, well, the Rams are going to win, right? The Packers could win, the Niners could win. Yeah, every road team could win this week, and that's crazy to me.
That's nuts. I think the only one I would pause a little bit about it was Chargers, but still, it's like Patriots were the surprise team, and so you got Chargers, a little bit of a veteran team. It wouldn't surprise me if Harbaugh gets that team going.
He's going to run the ball, control the clock. It's going to be a low-scoring game, and
Speaking of Harbaugh, do you think that's who the Dolphins are going to try to get now?
Absolutely.
Is his brother?
Yeah, they fired Mike McDaniel a little later, so it's something to where they had some thought before. So
I think there's some. I don't think it takes too hard thinking what their mindset's going through.
Yeah,
with this,
and I would probably agree with that move. I think Mike McDaniel's a great offensive coordinator. Like we said, I don't know if he can handle the locker room quite as well.
Right, but hey, again, we can dream if he does come to Green Bay. I'd be all about that for sure, all for sure. So, I know we talked a little bit about Giannis and football is kind of your thing, but after hearing those Giannis comments, do you feel better about him staying?
Much better, yeah. A lot of this season's been a lot of rumors, and then Giannis hasn't said anything.
Yeah.
And so to finally him come out and say, I'm here, I'm staying, definitely comforts a little bit knowing, he's not going to request a trade anytime soon. I don't know if it'd be smart for the Bucks to trade Giannis. I don't want them to, but just what's best for the organization. But
yeah, Bucks are relevant when Giannis is there for me. You know, and I want Giannis to stay there. And I think it's rare now too, where you have these guys like Steph Curry's probably going to finish his career with the Warriors.
Yeah,
but it's rare you see these guys start and finish with.
They're getting traded every year. So.
Yeah, and I mean, for crying out loud, if LeBron can play with 3-4 teams, it's like I miss those times, and I know it's rare and such. more, I guess, football. I mean, or even Tom Brady not even played for
Yeah.
a whole team.
Yep.
You know, so I'm glad to hear that. I don't know if he will play his whole career.
We'll see. Yeah, right. Like they're not winning a ton right now, so it's easy to say it at the beginning. But really, if we're at the end of the year and we're a one and done team, it's like
Yep.
now we take another look. So
And I think that 2027 when he can opt out, you know, when he goes say, well, I'm not the boss. Well, he will be the boss in
Yeah,
2027
yes.
when he decides if he wants to stay or not.
yeah,
So,
I think that puts the Bucks in a tough spot because you don't want to lose him for anything because of how much value he has.
exactly.
But at the same time, like he's the guy you want to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
So it puts them in a tough position.
Yep. I totally agree, man. So, well, I'm excited Thursdays to have you on board here and helping out and contributing and coming up with some topics and such too. So
I really appreciate it.
yeah, no problem. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully when you're in next Thursday too, we're actually talking still Packers
Yes,
playoffs.
hopefully. Yes.
And in a game against the Seahawks
That would be fun.
going over there too. So, but so Packers fan, baseball, to ask you, Brewers, are you all Wisconsin?
Yes.
All
Yep.
Wisconsin?
Yep.
So,
all Wisconsin.
attaboy.
Except for hockey. Obviously, no NHL team. But
So are you Wild then?
I am.
or-
I'm a Wild fan.
See, I'm weird. I can't. I'm a Seattle Kraken fan
Okay.
because I can't. Bear with me. I can't be a fan. This is my mind. How my mind goes. I've been to Wild games. I can't cheer for a Wild though because if I go to a game, and all of a sudden they have JJ McCarthy on the board and say, "Wild fans, welcome JJ McCarthy." I'm not cheering for him.
Yeah.
So I can't.
Yep.
I'm weird like that. Don't be like me. But that's I can't do that. That's how my mindset goes.
Yeah,
So.
if Utah would have had their name to the Yetis, I may have considered
Oh,
a switch.
dude, now we're
but-
gonna be best friends.
but they didn't pick the Yetis,
I
so
know. Oh yeah, because I'm a big Bigfoot guy. If that
Yes.
was gonna
Yes.
be Yeti, I would have switched allegiances.
yeah, bought a jersey immediately.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I was Mighty Ducks, then it was Kraken, and I was ready to pull my
Yep.
allegiance over to Yeti. So, but no, okay. So all Wisconsin. I like it. I like it. Favorite athlete is what I forgot to ask you.
My favorite athlete is Patrick Mahomes.
Ooh.
That's yes.
Okay.
Yes, my family hates me for it, but it's true. Yep. It's just for me, it's so fun to watch him play. Just the plays he makes, and yes, I get all the flopping, but who doesn't at this point, right? So it's fun to watch him just be in a game and do what he does. So
Where's your what's your bucket list of a game, stadium, or athlete that you would love to?
I've never been to a Packer game, so
Okay.
still probably just going to Lambeau Field. Like a night game would be so cool to just prime time, like even a divisional opponent
Yep.
at Lambeau Field. That would be pretty neat.
Yeah, it's.
So
I will say this. And the more you get to know me, people make fun of it. It's a tradition unlike any other. Preseason's my jam.
okay,
Saturday nights in fall at Lambeau Field, it's pretty still
Yeah,
cool. It's still
that's-
packed. It's it's a night game on a Saturday.
no
Cheap.
pressure to win.
Yeah. You still get the tailgating environment.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it being sub-zero temperatures. It's cool, man.
Yeah.
So I would say if you have a chance, try to go to a preseason game and knock it off the bucket list. So,
Yeah, for sure. For
you know,
sure.
and then you don't have to worry about whether they win or lose.
Yeah.
Just stay healthy.
Yes.
That's the only thing.
Yes. Don't get hurt.
Exactly. So, all right, we got shot clock that's going to cut us off less than a minute. So, Carter, again, thanks, and looking forward to Thursdays with you, sir. So, rest of you, remember your homework assignments for tomorrow. Come up with your cream of the crops for tomorrow. So you can text those on over whenever you'd like at 715-830-1912. Again, tomorrow we'll have Brandon on for our Carpet City Flooring Center local sports spotlight, or roundup, Dr. Crow's joining us for Inside the Training Room. And it's a football Friday, so we'll talk some more playoffs, keys to victory at key matchups, and your Packers players who got to have a game. Really quick, Carter, who's the Packer player that has to have a game?
Oh, Trevon Diggs.
Nice. I like that pick. Look at that. A secondary. You played in the secondary, right?
Yes. Yep.
Secondary, picking a secondary player.
position.
Yep. All right, there's your shot clock. Have a good rest of your day. Same place, same time tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We'll talk to you then.